You're listening to 91 Reasons, a journey into the twisted landscape of pop culture. Keep your hands and arms inside the podcast at all times. And now, the voice, Jeff Tucker.
All right, welcome. We're back. You didn't think we'd take a week off, did you? We didn't take a week off for Christmas Eve, so why would we take the week off for New Year's Eve? New Year's Eve seems somehow less important than Christmas Eve, because Christmas Eve, you're hours away from getting all this amazing new stuff to add to your life, including tons of Homestuck merchandise, which is what we may talk about on the show today. But see, New Year's Eve, what's going to be in the morning? It's a new year. It's 2015. It's the year of the Homestuck. It's the year of the Huss. It's the year of the Huss. All right, welcome. It's another episode of 91 Reasons. I am Jeff Tucker. We are continuing our far-flung voyages to the outer fringes of the internet, a strange world of candy corn horns and gray-skinned trolls. Yes, it's Homestuck, and I have to tell you very quickly before we get into the show, I work at a local theme park here, and I actually had a young girl walk up to me wearing a Homestuck shirt, the one you buy at Hot Topic that has all the characters on it. And I said, "Oh, you're a Homestuck fan. You like Homestuck, Andrew Hussey, all that?" And she looked at me as if I was speaking in tongues. She was stunned that I had any concept of what Homestuck was. And I was like, "Yeah, Homestuck, you know, with like Terezi and Carcat and Betty Crocker and all that." And she was like, "Oh my God, this old man knows about Homestuck." Why do I know about Homestuck? Well, I know about Homestuck because I'm sitting here with two of the foremost authorities on all things Homestuck. Introduce yourselves. My co-hosts for the Homestuck revolution that continues to march on.
Austin. I'm Luna.
And we're back for another episode of all things Homestuck related. Let's say hello and Happy New Year to everybody around the world who's listening. Go ahead.
Hello. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Because I said earlier while we were eating dinner, I said, guys, do you understand that there are hundreds of people around the world who keep checking iTunes for the episode? Where's the episode? Give us the episode. We got to give them the episode before the night ends. Technically, it's only 9:24 p.m. here on the West Coast, so we've still got 2.5 hours before 2015 and before Thursday to get this episode up. So we're going to do it, load it in, call it good, all right? So let's just jump in. Luna, you take us. You're the ringleader of this thing.
What first?
You're the guy who said just a few moments ago to Austin, "Can get out of the middle chair so I can have the chair closer to the microphone so that I can talk more." Since you don't talk, and now Austin will probably
never talks. I just lean over him the whole time.
Yeah, well, Austin has. See, you're the expert on all things. Austin has little niches, and when you dig into one of those niches, that's what he jumps in. He's like, no, wait a minute. Like what, Austin? What's your specialty, Austin?
I don't really know what my specialty is.
What are you into most about Homestuck?
I love the characters and how well Hussey writes them all.
Okay, so let's go through the list here.
We have almost everything crossed off now.
Yeah, you guys. Well, there's something like copyright. We did that last week.
Crossed it out,
All right, let's talk about. Here, folks. I'm the novice. I have no idea what any of this stuff means. So when I pick an item off the page, I don't know where it's going to go because I don't know what it means. I don't know what cherubs mean. Can you guys enlighten me as to what? Because when you say cherubs to me, I think of little fat naked children floating above a bathroom like with grapes. What are in relation to Homestuck? What is cherubs?
Cherubs are the third race in the comic. There's a lot of little things, but the three master species are human, troll, and cherub. And cherubs, he tries to break a lot of the rules he set up, and the cherubs are really strict in rules. And the way their characters are defined is nothing like anything else in the comic.
And they're introduced to really late in.
Yeah, the first one you don't get to see them until page 7,000 of Miss Payne Adventures.
And how many pages are there? So far, 9.
It begins on 1,900 if you're in just Homestuck. It's about 5,000 to 6,000 pages into Homestuck.
But you said they didn't show it till 7,000.
Page 7,000, yeah.
But if they only go to 6,000, it doesn't make sense.
No. Homestuck MS Paint Adventures currently goes up to page 9,160 something.
Okay, so they're in the latter part.
Yes.
So is this just like one of Hussey's like last minute? Yeah, I got an idea. I'll put these in.
No, there's
Sort
been a
of.
lot of setup to them. A lot of setup.
A lot of fake setup.
Yeah.
So in the mechanics of the plot, why are the cherubs necessary, and lay out what they are?
The cherubs,
we believe they're the ultimate villain of the comic.
yeah, they're set up to be the ultimate villain. The whole comic has been about Lord English, who's this half, like, skeleton guy. And this is going into his origins. All of the final act, Act 6, is structured into showing you the older characters as kids. It shows all the ancestors now in the reverse world are as kids. So the cherubs is their way of showing the final villain as a kid.
We think.
We think so far.
So the Lord English villain character, and what is his goal?
We don't know.
Well, how can he be a
To
villain?
destroy all of reality.
Yeah. Right now, the main Lord English, there's variations of him, but the main Lord English is basically just, I'm gonna blow up everything.
So far, he's gone to the afterlife and destroyed the souls of dead people.
He can kill ghosts.
like Venkman.
Yeah, he can
Yeah.
kill ghosts. He's called the Angel of Double Death.
But I don't understand, because Austin says his goal is to destroy reality, but that would destroy him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make his plan makes no sense.
So the cherubs, you think, are a retroactive personification of Lord English in an infantile state.
Yes.
That actually made sense to you.
Yes.
Okay.
But we do have an origin of Lord English in a way. Because
Yeah.
one of the cherubs puts their soul into a puppet, which was alchemized with a cue ball to create Lord English.
Yeah,
Lord English's
that's how
origin.
the big buff mwahaha Lord English came from.
But we're not sure that guy's Lord English.
We're not sure he's the villain, the number one villain.
Yeah, everyone
Because
online is.
If you ask me, the number one villain is Hussey.
Well, no, he's that's AH, the narrative. He's a character in it too.
He's like Stan Lee. He keeps popping up and ruining
Yes.
everything.
But unlike Stan Lee in the movies, Hussey actually changes things in the plot every now and then. He does Death of the Author. Lord English reaches the apartment where Hussey writes the comic and kills him.
But I don't understand. Like, you've described Dave Strider and all these characters. I know what trolls look like. We went into great lengths of Austin wanting to dye his skin gray, and he wears horns. You've never described what a cherub looks
cherub.
like.
A cherub, imagine a green skeleton with like either with green or red Pikachu cheeks.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a retroactive foreshadowing of Little Cal, the doll.
But it sounds like the little saw puppet to me.
Yes,
Exactly.
That's on purpose.
That's on purpose.
Okay, hey, I got something right.
Before Homestuck started, there was a troll on the MSPA forums that went in as Saw and said, hey, and there was some random forum user, do you want to play a game? And you open it up and it says, draw me not safe for work art of the Muppet Babies. So, and all the next comment below is Hussey just, yeah, I'm going to ban this guy. Then when Homestuck starts, Dave Strider's bro's obsessed with puppets. And that's where this all comes from. He has a Saw puppet, and he sort of films puppet snuff films where he gores puppets up in front of a
Involving the
camera
Muppet Babies.
involving the Muppet Babies and
What was a
such.
joke on this troll?
And then somehow that led Hussey down the thought path of the final villain should also look like a Saw guy and have to do with puppets. So it all stems from some random troll in the forum has now set up the entire villain of the comic.
There are numerous times in my novels that I've written where I'll get to a point where I'm not really sure, getting a character in a situation, how I'm going to get the character out. And there are times I take a break of like a week or sometimes 2 weeks to figure out, and then figure out a way not only to have the character accomplish it, but also write it in a coherent form. So I get that kind of blindly writing in a general direction idea. My question to you is, does it seem like that's all Homestuck is? Like he has no idea where it's going, and like, oh, the main villain? I picked it up off some website. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, but
And you're talking about the main villain doesn't show up for 7,000 pages.
He appears on page 6,010? No, 6,011.
You understand that that's equal to Darth Vader showing up at the last 15 minutes of Return of the Jedi.
He's mentioned a few hundred pages in. They already set him up in the intermission.
And he has a gimmick that kind of negates that. His gimmick is he's already here. And we think with all the retconning going on, something's going to happen so that he was actually set up earlier than it appeared to be.
Yeah, using retroactive foresight.
He's always been here. He just hasn't had screen time yet. He's always been messing with things.
Okay, but that's kind of like, to me, that's copping out. Don't you think that's copping out? Like adding a villain and then going, look, we're going to go back and fix the stuff so it looks like he's been there the whole time. Am I reading that correctly?
Mm-hmm. It's weird because there's a little more to it. The cherubs, their names are Calliope and Caliborn. They're the mirthful messiahs.
Which were mentioned a really old comic.
Yeah, Gamzee's Juggalo religion is based around the two mirthful messiahs. One's comedy and one's tragedy. And he refers them as the angels of double death. So now at this point in the comic, they show up and it's, hey, there's two characters, they're alternate colors, one's cheery, one's sad, and they're the angels, and they're supposed to grow up and just be the villain, so it's tying in with his religion. And then one of the later plot twists is that Gamzee, in fact, through time travel that we don't even know yet, but through some time travel shenanigans, he's kind of their mom. He found the egg they hatched from and raised them from birth. Yeah. Gamzee's their adopted mother.
Do these plot revelations make you go, wow, or do they make you go, yeah?
Those are pretty wild moments.
You tell me. I don't know.
Those are pretty wild moments, yeah.
It'll be a wow moment when it's explained. Yeah. That part hasn't been explained yet.
Do you have faith that it's going to be explained?
Yeah, we do. He's good at wrapping weird things up like that.
Oh, and he has timetables, right? Doesn't Gamzee have those?
Gamzee, if you look in the background of one Flash, he does.
Okay.
Well, your mom watches soap operas where they have these story threads that go on for 3 or 4 months, and eventually they wrap them up and move on to new story threads. What's the ratio of page count versus story threads that he wraps up, or does he ever wrap up any story threads?
Nothing's really wrapped up in the comic.
No, it kind of does.
There has to be episodes where it's like, okay, that journey is now over, Bilbo. We'll start a new journey.
They wrapped up WV's
It only takes about 3,000 or 4,000 pages for WV to be wrapped up, ectobiology to be wrapped up, the secret of Skaya and the ultimate riddle is all pushed aside pretty recently.
It looks like about 2,000 pages later, we're finally going to get Vriska's story wrapped up.
Jack Noir appears in Act 3, and by the end of Act 4, you know the whole Midnight Cruise story. They're pretty good. It's pretty good there.
It takes a few thousand pages.
It normally takes about 1,000 pages before
John gets the mail.
But that's for the early story stuff. Now the later half of the comic, it's much broader than that, and much less little story threads rather than one really complicated thing that's trying to be solved.
Is there any possible way that he can wrap up Homestuck and go, that's it, we're done, and walk away?
No, because he already has the video games planned.
He's going to unravel reality and start over.
Well, no.
This is the equivalent of how do you describe it? This is the equivalent of getting into Spider-Man and getting to movie 3, and then they go, we're going to start over.
Yeah.
All that stuff you had invested in it, we're going to start over.
Hussey started Paradox Space, which is the second webcomic that he doesn't write. It's actually outside artists, and it was made to explain the plots of Homestuck that never got wrapped up. Now, unfortunately, tons of scripts have been written for story arcs that were supposed to be wrapped up and submitted to Hussey, but Hussey said no to each one, saying the video game's going to wrap all these up.
Do you truly believe that?
No.
I think I do, because he's rejected them all recently. He went through all these scripts this summer and spring. But he claims the entire game was fully written and finalized last December.
Him and Ryan North wrote it.
Has there... I can answer this, but you guys are the experts. How many times in your lifetime has a video game come out and met your expectations? How many?
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto.
That was
No.
Grand Theft Auto 5
Yeah?
is pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Long wait for Smash Brothers
Smash
Brawl, and
Brothers
it wasn't-
Brawl didn't live up to it.
It wasn't that good. Millie
Mo-
was the better game.
Most video games do not live up to. Remember the advanced trailer for The Force Unleashed?
Oh yeah,
promised-
that was so good.
It promised
Yeah.
the greatest Star Wars adventure of all time.
that game
Battle-
is just that
Battlefront
thing.
3.
Right,
Force
they-
Unleashed is
So it begs the question, is the Homestuck video game, can it possibly ever live up to your expectations? Because no matter what you want it to be, it's always going to be a closed-ended storyline game.
Yeah.
It has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
And then it just ends, and then there's credits.
yeah.
Yeah.
He says he has 2 written. He says
Two complete games.
2 complete games, and they're in parallel with each other.
And they're broken up into episodes.
They connect with each other, but you don't have to play them in order. You can play either one first.
I'm getting shades of the path of Neo, man.
Oh.
Remember that Matrix game where you didn't get to be Neo?
Yeah,
You got to
you're
follow Neo?
alongside him.
Yeah, you're in tandem,
He said
right?
The new game will have all new characters, all new places, and won't interact with Homestuck.
What?
He said he's hinted that.
And
there'll
you
be
want this game?
He's hinted there'll be a little points here or there where you'll say, "Oh, that's why that happened in the comic." But he said right out he is writing this for new fans. It's just to build fan base so that people will play the games first and then say, "Oh, look, there's a comic of it too."
But what you're saying is exactly what Path of Neo promised, and that's you'd see a few moments in the movie that wasn't explained, but by playing the game, you're like, that's why that character went through a door. But people
Yeah,
hated that game.
I think this will be okay because it's not trying to, like, the Matrix games are always trying to do the slow motion and stuff. It just doesn't work. This is the game's 99% just story that you're clicking through as it seems to be right
he's
now.
He's already said it's not going to be like how Homestuck plays. It's not going to look like the Homestuck video game.
No, it's just he's written a story, but instead of being a comic that he's updating for a few years, this time he's just going to make a interactive little adventure.
So we are expecting
We're expecting an interactive
Yeah.
comic adventure, not like a video game.
But after all this time, you should be expecting a wrap-up of all these storylines. Like, what is the ultimate ending to Homestuck should be contained in a $50 to $60 video game. It really should. It should. Okay, you're too young, but when Star Trek III, The Search for Spock came out, they asked the director, Leonard Nimoy, are we going to find Spock? And he said, you think at the end of the movie we're going to shrug and go, we couldn't find him? No, you got to find him. So all this buildup, the years, the money, the waiting, the anticipation has to amount to something. There has to be some sort of resolution to this giant story.
I would love for the video game to have the main characters featured at the end and wrap that story up.
Wouldn't you be happy with just like a still shot of them and a little bit of text like, this is what happened?
Yeah.
Like at the end of Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Jeff Spicoli saved Brooke Shields from drowning and blew the reward money to have Van Halen play his birthday party. That's it. We're done.
And
It would say Dave Strider had a cool day at the grocery store and dropped his drink, and that's it.
But, even though I know it takes place long before the Homestuck characters played the suburb video game and takes place in another universe, I really am hoping they'll find a way to get a glimpse of the main cast in there. I think he'll pull like a Bioshock Infinite with a character.
What?
Can see the future and they'll sew the characters real quick or no? Will it link into
I
the
don't
plot
know.
last second? Like Bioshock Infinite, when you play through it, doesn't feel like any of the Bioshock games. But, spoiler alert, at the end of the
connected
DLC, it connected it all in like 5 minutes with the main franchise. Will the game do something like that? Do you think it will?
He'll pull a twist at the end that
Yeah.
it's much more important than it seems. I don't
Like
know. It's hard telling with him.
The main character could be a seer, and they could...
We really won't know until Homestuck's over because he definitely wants the comic to have an ending point before the games are teased and come out, or there's even a trailer for the game.
But even Bioshock 1 and 2, Bioshock 2 actually ends the Rapture arc. And yet, even with Infinite, he found a way to not only connect it to the old franchise, but they ended it entirely.
It's impossible to tell.
What is going to be the distribution process for this game? It doesn't sound like something you'll be able to go to Target and pick up.
We're pretty sure it's on Steam.
So it's
Steam
just a download.
Just a download.
Yeah.
If you did the Kickstarter, you were promised a disc, so we're gonna see if he follows through with that.
Those would become
Yeah.
quite valuable.
For like $50, you got a signed disc, and it's supposed to have the first game on it of the two, and it's supposed to have all of Homestuck in a offline form.
Like a disc containing all
The
Homestuck.
disc has, you put the disc in, it says click for game, click for comic, and it's got the full comic on there. But
it would have to be a Blu-ray then for that kind of information, or multiple discs.
Yeah.
It'd be like 10 discs long, like 1,000 pages each disc.
He may end up for that $50 not making any money for all that content.
yeah,
But you think for the general public it'll be a Steam release?
It'll be a
where
Steam release,
It's just
yeah.
a download.
it'll probably be on Steam Greenlight by next summer because it has to go. Any new game on Steam now has to go through a process where it gets put up in this little workshop type area, and people vote if they want it or
And
not.
Valve has to approve
And
of
Valve has to give their okay that they allow it on Steam.
Now, what will happen the day that is available for only beta testing, and you guys aren't in it? Will you go
Because
crazy?
You missed the Kickstarter. The news posts are posted all over Tumblr, so I assume as soon as anything hint is released, it'll be everywhere.
When Namco High
do
was
it.
released, even the people who hadn't paid money to go through the Homestuck arc of it, it was still all leaked on Tumblr.
Yeah, that you can get it anywhere.
Yeah, I
pretty
know
much.
that when Namco High came out, you came to me and you wanted like $65, $70 for all of this Homestuck related paraphernalia in the game. And I'm so glad I didn't buy it.
Yeah.
Because they didn't even support that game.
They shut it down half a year later.
Oh, I would have been so
If
angry.
you had spent the money on the Homestuck,
Yes.
DLC and not got to play through it.
You were so
Yeah.
wanting
Yeah.
it.
It wasn't that good. People have put read-throughs, and Hussey wasn't involved in it.
Yeah.
He was the
Creative director.
creative director, which means he hired his friends to do it. And he had no input on it. All the Homestuck characters were really out of character. It was not Hussey's writing at
They didn't
all.
look like the characters. They were drawn by other artists.
The game is more promising because he showed pictures of him writing it. There was pen and paper and Hussey writing
Yeah,
the game.
And the game models look like the characters. It looks like the comic.
Yeah, this is the Namco High was nothing but some non-canon drawings of the characters, and you click through some text that wasn't written by Hussey,
Yeah.
What the heck?
and then they shut it down.
To your knowledge, has Andrew Hussey ever had a day job? Have we talked about that on the show?
Yeah. we
We've
did.
talked about it. We said we don't know that
You don't know.
He quit any job as of 3 or 4 years into the
I just
comic.
can't understand how he makes money. I know that.
Merchandise.
Yeah, I know, but it's so niche.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe that he sells enough
But-
merchandise to not have to work. Like, I don't think you guys understand how expensive life is,
Yeah.
especially a guy like that going to cons, hotel room,
Yeah.
airfare, general living, and money for rent and food. Where does it all come
He
from?
must make a lot of money because he's refused a Hot Topic multiple times. It took a lot to get that one T-shirt on the shelf.
Right, but do you
And-
think the Hot Topic people want him to sign for merch or sign over
Everything.
giant rights
Yeah.
that suddenly it's out of his hands and it becomes as ubiquitous as Nightmare Before Christmas junk or
Or
Doctor
Bravest
Who
Warriors.
or Bravest
Hot
Warrior?
Topic had their way. There'd be bracelets and keychains, and as soon as possible, DVD release of the comic so
Well,
more
of
people
course,
can read it.
Because if it makes money, they want it.
Yeah.
Hot Topic may shout to the hills about how they're supporting the rebels and the nerds and the geeks, but if it ain't making money, it's out of the store.
yeah. Hunger Games, they did the first movie giant, and then nothing.
Well, the last time we saw Hunger Games, it was buy one, get one free, and the movie had just come out.
Uh-huh.
They were like, look, we're not getting stuck with this crap again.
Hussey's even said Hot Topic only has the rights to distribute the Wheel of Fine exclusive T-shirt. One T-shirt, only distribution. If you were to fully sell out, it would mean they can get any Wheel of Fine stuff in the store and give the license to Hot Properties, which is Hot Topic's merchandising brand, where they make T-shirts and stickers.
I can't believe they don't have, little Homestuck blind box PVC characters.
yeah.
That seems like a natural.
We're all guessing as soon as the comic ends, there's going to be buttons, keychains, and Funko's going to get something.
They have
it's
to.
right up their alley. It's
Yeah.
a niche little online thing that are all really simple characters they can paste on their same molds.
Yeah, it already looks like pop vinyl
They're
stuff.
already the same chibi style as pop vinyl. It's so easy just to put it right in with them.
So along the lines of all this merchandise talk, we ran into somebody just a couple of days ago yesterday, as a matter of fact, at the mall, who crochets Homestuck hats for Etsy and had it all taken down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
All
Pumpkin
taken
took
down.
Down everything.
So what happened there?
Well, they just said take it down. They had to take it all down.
Yeah, like we said in the last episode, you can't sell anything, or Hussey will be on your case.
That's crazy.
He has like special
No matter
people who
if
go
you go on
cons.
the farthest area of DeviantArt and only send the links to your friends, he will hunt you down.
Yeah, like we said, remember the two people with like the trench coats trading the horns behind us
Yeah.
at Comic-Con?
Yeah.
There's no escaping Hussey from
Well,
copyright.
remember we talked about how Luke got stopped by the two What Pumpkin employees?
Oh, you
I
know,
was
like
wearing
where did
my shirt.
Yeah,
and
they wanna
they're
know.
tracking me down.
That's unbelievable.
They're ready to take the shirt off my back and find who's selling it.
But do you want Homestuck to become another teen brand like Attack on Titan and Hetalia and My Little Pony? Like, do you want it to go right alongside that, or are you happy knowing that it's underground,
Well-
that you got to know what you know to be in the know, and all you Homestuck people give everybody the secret nod while
Yeah.
everybody else is wearing their Doctor Who fez
Yeah.
with their sonic
It's a
screwdrivers?
weird little thing.
It's weird because I don't want it to be like that.
But I want the merch.
But I want the merch,
I want them
yeah.
to make.
Well, now you're torn,
I
aren't
don't
you?
want to
Yeah.
be stuck with the $80 puzzles and that's it. I want
See,
the keychains.
I like being able to see Homestucks in public, and it's a big deal. Like, you're Homestuck, and you instantly become friends. But I also want to be able to own the merchandise, because the shipping is way too expensive for what they make.
Yeah.
I can tell you there's an old school example of what you're talking about. When Nightmare Before Christmas came out, it bombed. It bombed big. Your mom and I went and saw it opening night and were instantly in love with this movie because it was alternative, dark, gothic, not Disney-like at all. Tim Burton as a cartoon. It was fantastic. So we went looking for all the merchandise we can get, and there wasn't much to get. There was a toy line, which only had one shipping to Toys R Us, and once they were gone, they were gone. We actually went to the Disneyland Hotel because we heard they had a really small assortment, and they did. They had a couple of purses, backpacks, some keychains, little coffins full of candy with Jack Skellington on them, and a Jack Skellington mask. Now, at the time, we were poor. I picked up a couple of things, and they said we'd come back. The next week we went back, it was all gone. So we had our shot, like a What Pumpkin or We Love Fine. We had one shot to buy the merchandise for the brand we liked. And once that was gone, it was gone. And it took 4, 5, 6 years. And then suddenly, oh my God, there's more Nightmare Before Christmas merchandise than anybody could possibly keep up with. Out of Japan, out of America. I mean, we've been to Disneyland and we play a game.
How many Jack Skellington sweaters can we spot?
Yeah, and we get to 30 or 40 of the same stupid Jack Skellington sweater. And I ask you, for someone like me who idolized the character of Jack Skellington and dreamed of having as much Jack Skellington merchandise as I could get my hands on, is this what you want to happen to Homestuck?
I don't
Do you
know.
want
I
to
don't
see
know.
1 out of every 4 teens wearing all this? Now, I don't know. I don't know.
It's hard to guess what that would be like. Because it's a weird dilemma of, do you want there to be nothing and have it die out, or do you want it to be stuck with it forever?
Yeah.
It's a weird.
This is the challenge, right?
The rapture day is coming, he says,
Yeah.
and we don't know what that means. We think it's merch sellout.
Well, we're about to hit 2015. To me, the year of Marty McFly.
Yeah.
To you, hopefully the year of the Homestuck promise of the video game.
Well, Hussey made a promise in the new when he announced that the comic would be coming back in this was September. He said before the end of October the comic will be coming back, but he warned us of a far off day. He says this day's far off, probably about a year or so, but things are going to happen. Things concerning the video game, things concerning the end of the comic, things concerning a few more surprises, and then the thing's going to happen. And the stars have aligned in such a way. He said the stars have aligned in such a way. This is all going to happen on one day that I would refer to as Rapture. And when Rapture comes, it'll be more than any Homestuck fan can ever handle. And it'll be the most insane thing Homestuck has ever seen. And then he hasn't talked about it since, other than it's coming.
Maybe he was talking about the launch of our podcast. Maybe it's like we are the harbingers of doom. We are the ones who will bring you Words from the top of the mountain from Hussey himself. We will bring them down and distribute them to the masses. We will look into the eyes of all the Homestucks around the world and say, Hive Swap. Mm-hmm. What is Hive Swap?
The game.
That's the title.
That's the title of the game. I did it. I picked a name at random. What does that even mean?
The plot of the game is a human gets sent into the troll world. And then the plot of the second game will be a troll gets sent into the real world. And hives are what trolls call houses. So the game's called Hive Swap. And then the second game will probably be called
House Swap?
House Switch or something. Because house is what we call houses
Home.
here.
It's called Homestuck.
Homestuck.
It wouldn't be called
and then
Home
it'll be
Swap?
Hive Swap and House Switched or something. It's called Homestuck because of Earthbound, by the way.
I don't know what that means.
The old Nintendo game, Earthbound.
Most of the
kids
inspiration comes from
a bunch of kids play a video game and fight aliens and save the world. Earthbound, Homestuck. It's the same meaning with different.
How come it took
words.
5 episodes of this show to get you to tell me what Homestuck means?
I'm not a fan of Earthbound, so I have a lot of the comic is weighted on Earthbound. I don't get any of it. Their coffee machine is Earthbound. I don't know why.
What?
They have a coffee machine in the Meteor, and it's some machine from Earthbound repurposed as a coffee machine. I don't get it.
Okay.
And a lot of the music is heavily inspired by
Yeah,
Earthbound.
some of the music is sampled from Earthbound, or
Like, literally, some of the lyrics are stolen from it, right?
Some of the tunes, yeah.
Yeah.
Now you guys go on and on and on all day with Homestuck-inspired music.
Yeah.
What is that about? What is it that makes people want to take pop songs and Homestuckize them? What does that do for you?
It was really a movement started about 2 years ago with the Broadway group.
There was a Broadway call.
There was a Broadway of each character.
And they sung Broadway songs with Homestuck lyrics.
Yeah.
And from there it's grown.
From there it's moved on from not just Broadway songs, but anything you can get your hands on, make it Homestuck.
Don't get me started on how many Homestuck Let It Go covers have popped up on Tindex in the past year. So many.
How do they make it Homestuck?
They just say a character singing it, and they sing it in their
They
voice.
switch out some of the names.
Yeah.
They do it in the fandom cliche voices for the characters.
Yeah. Like a lot of the time, the lyrics aren't switched anymore. They just sing it in a fandom cliche voice. Because these characters don't have voices, but the fandom has decided on voices for these characters.
Okay.
Mainly based off Octopimp, the popular voice actor.
Octopimp, yeah. But I know, like, Hey Soul Sister by Train becomes Hey Dave Strider.
Yeah.
What else is there?
There's so many of them.
God.
Janie's dad has got it going on.
Instead of Stacy's mom?
Yeah.
What else?
Ooh, what do we else?
think you're cooler than
the
me?
fan favorite one of all time is Carkalicious.
Yeah.
Carkalicious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that... Get over here and sing it into the mic, honey. Is that like to the tune of Fergalicious?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let her in here. Our special guest, Josie Stuck, is going to sing
Carkalicious.
Carkalicious. No, go ahead.
Carkalicious definition makes her as a loco.
Yeah.
You know the rest?
What else?
No.
That's it, huh?
That's it. That's all you know.
Oh,
One, two, 3, 4. No, come on. How
She's not
do you
going.
get shy? We're
She
only
came
being
over
heard
here to
around the
sing, and
world.
she didn't-
Yeah.
All right, get out of here. You're not gonna sing for us. All right.
What else are what are the hip songs? I mean, Austin, you listen to this crap all day.
I listen-
Sexy
okay.
Conai.
I don't listen to these, what I consider mainstream Homestuck songs that literally every Homestuck fans listen to. The songs I like don't exist. Like I mentioned this in an older episode.
Wait a minute. The songs you like don't exist.
Yeah.
That
What I
doesn't
mean
make any
is-
sense.
Hey Jade, he's talking about, which he mentioned before.
Hey Jade.
Yeah.
Like Hey Jude.
It
There's-
doesn't
there's
exist though.
2 YouTube videos in really bad quality, and that's it. That's it. They all
problem
exist on the
is-
internet.
I like Broadway Cockcat, like not like the people on YouTube who cover the songs say Broadway Cockcat. I'm talking about the original Cantabile Gelato, who started the entire Broadway movement.
Cantabile Giotto.
Gelato? They have
Giotto.
Oh.
Giotto.
Gatto?
Gatto.
Cantabile Gatto?
They
Something
even
like
have
that.
a song
What is that a
saying,
parody of?
No, that's just their name.
Oh, okay.
And they deleted every one of their songs off the internet. So you have to go to the
They're-
weirdest sites
They
to
did
listen
one
to
album mix of their what they liked the best,
But I don't like those
and then
ones.
they disappeared off the internet.
Like, Bold as Love, Hey Jade, Somebody to Love, those ones are all gone.
Yeah,
I have
you
to
can
go to
find
the
them on
weirdest
really
websites.
weird websites. Then they left.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if this will work. If we can get this up as loud as we can.
Can't hear it at all.
I know.
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh, yeah, while the mic's on, you can't hear it. Never mind.
Ah.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I was going to try to play Midnight Crew.
That's
Yeah.
actually officially
That's a
used.
canon
That's a
term-
canon song, not a fan
That's not a
song.
pop
Not
song.
a fan song, a canon
Yeah.
song. All right, should we sing it together? Is this what's the tune of this?
It's from 1909,
Yeah.
We already
so
talked
it's
about
pretty
this in the
far
first
back.
episode.
I know we
we-
did, but we didn't. I hate a
Hate
moral coward.
one who
who
lacks a manly spark. I just detest a man afraid to go home in the dark. I always spend my evening where there's women, wine, and song. And like a man, I always bring my little wife along. I'm a member of the Midnight Crew. I'm a night owl and a wise bird too. Home with the milk in the morning, singing the same old song. Rise with the moon, go to bed with the sun. Early to bed and you'll miss all the fun. Bring your wife in trouble, it will never trouble you. Make her a member of the Midnight Crew. The fun doesn't stop till 12 on happy old Broadway. But what's the use of going home until the break of day? Something confidential, whisper not above a breath. I once went home at 2 a.m. and scared my wife to death. I'm a member of the Midnight Crew. I'm a nice and a wise bird too. Home with the moon in the morning, singing the same old song. The video's slow.
Yeah. So, anyways, the Midnight Crew. We've talked about it before, so we won't go into it. But somebody just found that song and was like, "This is the song."
Yeah, the characters were named first, and they found an old song that fit the name.
Fit the name, Midnight Crew.
Yeah.
Which is a weird song about staying up all night and taking your wife with you.
Yeah.
Most wives do not want to stay out all night.
D.D. is said more casually in the comic. He spoofed all the music videos where they just edit together the comic, and it's basically just edit together the comic to match the words.
That's a parody off Lyric Stuck, which is a thing where they take popular songs and they also redraw panels from Homestuck and fit them to it. Like,
Yeah.
normally when a song mentions hot, they'll show a pixel of dark.
The worst ones are the ones that don't have a coherent story they're trying to tell with
It's
the
just-
music video.
it's
It's just they said this word, and that goes back to this character in that one page.
Now you realize that that's a phenomenon across the
Yeah.
board on the internet.
Yeah.
Every movie character, TV show, there are people who just put clips to songs and like,
Yeah.
this song reminded me of this episode,
Yeah.
so I strung it together. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah. And D.D. is said more casually spoofs the bad ones. They just skip around.
Yeah.
So when did Homestuck start? What year? What date?
April
Do you-
13th, 2009. Was
So-
Homestuck.
So we're getting up to 6 years on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got into it when?
2000
April 13th, 2013.
I would sometime around May. I don't remember.
So it was around 4 years old by the time you got into it.
Exactly to the
Yeah.
day.
And
4
you were
years
just
old.
like, this is my thing.
Yeah.
We
It
fa-
took me a month to read it. Exactly 1 month to catch up.
We found it through Adventure Time
Yeah.
because we found Lydia Lama.
Lydia Lama, she did the Marshall Time animation, and then we all bugged her, do more Adventure Time cartoons, and she's like, no, I only draw Car Cat now.
We didn't know
We're
Car
like,
Cat was.
what's a Car Cat?
And she tried to explain Homestuck, and that's really what all started.
What's a
Is,
Homestuck?
is this somebody you can meet at a con?
No. we don't see
I think
them.
she's East Coast.
Yeah,
okay.
So, no.
You gotta go to like a Florida con.
Because like you could walk up to her and go, draw me Car Cat, right?
Yeah.
Draw me Car. I mean, that's what you do at poor Andy Ristano.
Yeah.
I've met most of the celebrities, the fandoms I like,
A
but
lot
not
of them
so
are
mu-
West Coast.
but not so much of the Tumblr users of the
Because
fandoms.
I know that not to digress, but you met Andy Ristano a million times, and
Uh-huh.
he's so generous, and he's like, so what do you want me to draw for you? And you go, Austin, you always go, well, I like Simon Petrikov, and he goes, yeah, I like Finn too, and he draws you a Finn really quick with the little pursed lips up. Because like the first time you met him, he drew you Simon Petrikov
Yeah,
and Ice
yeah.
King, and I just know he's like, look, kid, I've given you enough drawings. You get Finn, because Finn's the easiest. Here you go. Here's Finn.
Simon Petrikov's like the most complicated character.
Yeah,
you can
exactly.
draw.
I was there the time you asked him, like the third or fourth time, and he was like, yeah, and he just drew Finn. Like, what? He's such a nice guy. But you think we met Hussey and he draws like a quick.
Johnny boy.
He draws 5-second drawn doodles.
Yeah, those are pretty cool.
Josie, he drew a Solix for.
That's rare, right?
Yeah, there's a Solix. What else is there? There's a couple car cats, I think.
If you bring a special thing
If
from
you have
the
a
sign,
special item.
he'll
if you
sign
bring one of Car Cat's DVDs,
or the Sweet Bro
or
book,
a handmade plushie, or the Sweet Bro book, something special that stands out to him, he'll do a little special doodle for you.
So what's been going on in the fandom lately? Like what's the buzz?
We're back to just regular update to update stuff. Nothing huge has happened in the comic. We're just into
Typical
regular
update reactions,
update
panel
reactions.
edits,
Hussey hasn't done a
theories.
con for almost a year now. He hasn't done anything. All he talks about on Twitter anymore is Transformers.
Yeah.
The cartoon, toy, or crappy movie series?
The cartoon, like classic
cartoon.
stuff.
G1.
His best friend IPGD is all she does is ship Transformers now, and that's all he talks about with her.
Have you bugged him about whether he'll be at either WonderCon or Comic-Con this year?
Not this year. I haven't been to what pumpkin was it at Kamikaze, so I didn't get to talk to anyone then.
Oh, I mean on social media, can't you reach out and bug him any hour of the day?
Yeah, he doesn't always respond.
You're
but
the clown lord.
Yeah, I've bugged him on alternate accounts with goofs. He doesn't really respond or read to normal people.
Yeah, I've actually reached out to him a couple times. He does not respond.
No, he only responds when he can make a good joke. If he can make a joke or talk about horses. If you talk about horses and
Horses.
Lately Transformers, but mostly horses.
Did Beast Wars ever have a horse? Because that would be
think
like
it
the
did.
ultimate.
Yeah, someone sent that to Hussey.
They're only talking about G1 right now, though, right?
They just whatever. They were talking about the rescue bots.
Yeah.
The rescue bots.
IPG was posting something about how funny one of the rescue bot was in the kids cartoon.
You should.
And Hussey said, "Wow, you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel, aren't you?" And he was like, "That's the sad thing with the Transformers fandom. There is no bottom. It just keeps going."
Yeah, the rescue bottom. You should ask him about Megatron and why Megatron is Optimus Prime size when he's a robot and gun size when he's a gun. Like when I watched it as a kid, I'd go, "This defies all laws of physics." Like the fact that it turns into a robot. No, that he's a different size when he's a gun versus when he's a robot.
Distribution of matter doesn't.
It doesn't make sense.
Conservation of matter.
Matter is constant. You can't have less or more matter depending on your
One of my
state.
favorite tweets by Hussey ever is it's just a Google search bar where he searched Megatron legs and then in parentheses sexy.
Oh no, the Megatron gun toy is one of the ugliest robots ever. Even as a kid, we knew that. We're like, this is the villain. This stupid. I mean, it looks like a real gun when it's a gun.
But
when
he's
it's
a robot.
his legs look like he's wearing cowboy boots or something.
Recently, they found a robot that looks like Gamzee, and that's all they're talking about.
Oh, Gamzee. Who's Gamzee?
The clown guy, Subjugulator.
The Subjugulator. Yes.
Gamzee gets in this all purple outfit, and he at one point scratches his own face. They found a Transformer that's all purple with the same stupid cone hat Gamzee has, that at one point in the Transformers comic scratches his own face.
Is this something Hussey got it from, or is this a
No, this is a new discovery for him.
Doesn't
That there's this
Hussey
old
say-
Transformers character that fits really well.
Doesn't Hussey yell though it's inaccurate because he scratches his face out of what? Like his
Yeah,
angle?
he's like saying, no, this Transformer scratched his face to show how manly he was. Gamzee did it because it was funny.
This guy's so weird. Mm-hmm. Like, you get that Andrew Hussey's a weird guy, right?
You should mention the virus he got.
The computer virus.
One
when
time
he was making Rose's house.
Yeah, he needed to get really bad JPEG images of wizards off Google. So he downloaded a whole file full of bad quality wizard images. However, this file contained a very, very deadly computer virus that he gave himself.
Shut down his whole system for like a week.
Because of the wizard
Because
picture.
he tried to download some wizards.
From a guy who could have anybody he wanted draw him a wizard.
This was early on.
Oh, it was early on.
This was
2009,
early on.
yeah.
This was
Okay.
when MS Paint Adventures wasn't the main thing of his life.
He had a job still at this point.
We hadn't exploded yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
no
can you-
merchandise.
Can you imagine him like walking up to the restaurant and like, "Hi, I'm Andrew. I can get you any drinks or appetizers to get you started."
We all joked that he was a waiter at Olive Garden.
Okay,
That's kind of
yeah,
his thing.
Olive Garden. Can you get some breadsticks to get started, folks? Our special today is all you can eat pasta and salad for $12.99. Like this, like you understand that everybody had a day job at some point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's a significantly good chance that Andrew Hussey, at somewhere in his life, had a day job.
Most likely
Crappy day job.
It was most likely Burger King, is my guess. 'Cause
Burger
He
King.
hates Burger King.
He hates Burger King. We don't know why.
I hate Burger King, but it's not because I work there. It's because the food is terrible.
Like, the characters are always ranting about Burger King.
Well, you know what? I like him already then. Because Burger King's that's scraping the food bottom.
Clowns are good. Horses are good. Kings, anything to do with kings, he despises kings.
And this is another reason why he hates Burger King, because it tries to appeal kids to kings, so that kings
Yeah.
are nice and eat hamburgers.
You can't have good
He
with
says,
king and good
he
life.
says kings are tyrants.
Well, you might have that a few years ago, but now, I mean, they don't even acknowledge the Burger King character. Ever since
Just a
that
burger.
Yeah, ever since that creepy mascot thing got retired, does Burger King even have commercials?
No.
Not that I see, no.
All I see is McDonald's and Jack in the Box, and I don't recall seeing a Burger King commercial forever. Like, you go in there, and Burger King's advertisements are like, "Our food is fancy. Take it home and put it on a plate."
It's
And
like $12.99 for a chicken strip.
yeah. How about no? How about sell me some? I mean, just acknowledge that it's crappy
yeah.
food. That's all you have to
My
do.
Rose of the middle of the jungle. You can't reference Burger King. I'll have you know, it's Burger King 45 minutes from my house.
Yeah, like we ate at the Whopper bar at Rio in Las Vegas, which is like the upscale Whopper thing. Like, it was so stupid. You know, you can put a dress on a pig. It's still a pig. All right, we're getting almost to an hour on this. A few more minutes here. Let's talk about something else here.
All right.
Austin, why don't you pick a topic and what's?
Oh,
go
me
ahead.
pick a topic?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Do we talk about Special Olympics?
I think we did.
Yeah, I think we've covered everything on here.
No,
You've
gotta
got
find
Bill
some-
Cosby
Bill
written
Cosby,
here.
That's another actor.
He's
that
timely
comes
in the
on,
news
too.
right now, not in a good way.
He
Compared to what he's doing in real life, I hope in the comic he's not acting accordingly.
He's in laptop form.
yeah, I know he's in laptop form. John had a poster of one of his favorite movies on the wall, Ghost Dad,
Oh.
which later foreshadows you can bring your relatives back to life with the game. But he alchemizes his laptop with Ghost Dad, so he gets a computer that's in the shape of Bill Cosby.
It's like one of those kitty laptops you get at Target, where it's like in the shape of R2-D2.
But it's in the shape
But
of
it's Bill
Bill.
Cosby.
But it's Bill Cosby.
And the running gag is it just keeps getting destroyed and he has to make a new one.
Now,
And-
I saw Back to the Future 3 the day it premiered at the Cinedome in Hollywood. And before it played, they played a trailer for Ghost Dad. And everybody in the audience thought it was a joke. Like, it was like a fake movie trailer. Because, like, he dies. And then he's running around as a ghost trying to raise his kids. It's the most offensive thing you've ever seen. Ghost Dad?
Ghost Dad.
I can see why Hussey would latch onto it, because
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
John's whole joke is that he's obsessed with mediocre films.
Yeah.
Well,
Hussey-
Ghost Dad's way up
Hussey
there.
explains that the humor with John is it's not it's funny because he likes bad movies. No, it's funny because John likes really weird, okay movies. Like, there's nothing special about it. Like Ghost Dad,
Right,
Time
what-
to Kill,
what you're-
Armageddon. It's
What
like,
you're saying is that they're not colossally bad.
no, they're just sort of
They're mediocre.
And there's this 13-year-old kid obsessed with them. Is
In-
humorous.
In the commentary for the Homestuck Published books, he talks about how John likes McConaughey, and wait, am I saying that right? It's McConaughey, right? Yeah. And he says it's not that McConaughey's a bad actor and they're supposed to be funny. It's he's an
He's
okay
nothing
actor.
special.
He's just an actor.
So the fact there's a 13-year-old kid obsessed with him is funny.
McConaughey.
Uh,
All right.
Dad Egbert gets a similar computer, but instead of Cosby, it's Crosby. He gets a Crosby top.
Who's Crosby?
The old black and white actor.
Bing Crosby?
Yeah.
Bum. It's me, Bing Crosby, baby. I played my drum for him. Bum. Bing Crosby.
Yeah.
Is there anything in the comic that just makes you go, look, that's beyond what I'm willing to accept? You know, you've got Squiddles and Duddles and Bill Cosby laptops. Is there anything in the comic that even you were like, okay, that's stupid. That's way too stupid.
After all the Muppet Babies and Saw, I think
He hits it hard right at the beginning, so it seems natural the rest of the way
yeah.
through.
So
When the first 1,000 pages are insane, the other 7,000 seem pretty tame in comparison.
yeah.
You just sort of go with it at some point. When they kill off the main character and like it's a tear-worthy scene because they lit shaving cream on fire. You just accept it.
So you're saying it's like Harry freeing the snake is like, okay, well, the movie's about magic.
Yeah.
We got it.
You start off really crazy early, so the weirder things later are pretty tame in comparison.
Is there any correlation between the Harry Potter fandom and Homestuck fandom?
No.
not
There's no mention. They're not connected in any way.
It's full of
Just Wizardy Herbert, which we're not supposed to talk about. So,
Oh, right, it's a
yeah.
whole parody of Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not connected to Homestuck.
Yeah,
Only through a few. Eridan gets a wand at one point. There's the reoccurring thing that magic's not real, but actual big Harry Potter, that doesn't really happen. He makes fun of magic in general, and Wizardy Herbert pokes fun that magic has become a British thing, and that's about it.
He's too busy referencing Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, he says he hasn't even gotten through the whole Harry Potter series.
Have-
It's not his thing.
Have you ever seen the picture that somebody took of an artist who made a giant Con Air bunny sculpture that was as big as a
What?
car?
What?
That's true. Some guy made a sculpture of the Con Air bunny as big as a car as an art installation. What is going on?
What?
Why are people fixated on Con Air?
I don't know. He's just latched onto that movie and we don't know.
It's a very strange
Became a
movie.
thing.
And it seems to be like the hallmark of, how do I get through one night without you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't talk because you're
I just
choking on your
I hate
Toblerone.
Toblerone. I remember I hate Toblerones.
Last time it was Faygo. This week it's Toblerone. You're only eating it because it's mentioned in the comic, but you don't actually like it.
People online, whenever Toblerone's mentioned, they're like, "How's that Homestuck?" I read the whole comic. I don't remember.
How is Toblerone Homestuck as you
One page in
gag your way through it?
One page in the comic, John gets a Broblerone, which has this rat guy skateboarding on it, and it's just the command, John, put it where it belongs, and he throws in the fire.
That's it.
And then there's a picture that we don't know the story behind. There's a picture of Hussey standing outside the mouth of a cave. There's an arrow pointing at his hand that says, has Toblerone. And there's an arrow pointing at the cave that says, big scary cave. And that's it.
That's it?
That's it. That's all Toblerone has to do with
One and a
Homestuck.
half references, and you guys eat this stupid candy.
No,
Yes.
because I tried it because of Homestuck, and I love it. This thing is so good. I love Toblerone. Seriously, it's a good chocolate bar. I don't know why Luna hates it. It's delicious.
I don't like it.
You don't like Toblerone.
I don't like Crunch bars. It's got the
This
crunchy
is
stuff in it.
milk chocolate with honey and almond nougat. This doesn't sound like anything you would eat.
I
Who
like it.
eats a plain Hershey bar half the time.
Well, yeah,
The
but
Broblerone. It's for hip kids.
It doesn't even say Bloblerone. It's Toblerone. Bloblerone. What?
Eat it while
Broblerone?
reading Game Bro and playing Grand Snack Auto.
You guys are almost, and I say this in the most loving and respectful way, you seem like if Hussey said, today we're walking off a cliff, you would walk off the cliff as you eat your Toblerone that's
Cliffs.
mentioned once.
hey, there was a character that falls off a cliff.
Yeah.
You really want to be in character. We push each other downstairs. There's no limit.
Right,
There
yeah.
have been tales of cons.
People have gone to the hospital from falling downstairs.
People have gone to the hospital from being hit from metal buckets.
Is Homestuck worth going to the hospital over? So that you can become an anecdote? So that sometime in some con they go, yeah, man, I heard some guy got hit with a metal bucket. He's in the hospital. And you're like, I'm that guy. That's me you're talking. And then you just drop the bucket like you drop a microphone. Blung, blung.
That apparently really happened. One time at a con, they were throwing a metal bucket around. They hit someone on like the forehead and cut their head open.
Well, I don't doubt it if you're throwing a metal bucket around. If these guys are willing to wallow in gray ink
Yeah.
and make horns big enough that the hotel says, look, you're not welcome here anymore. Throwing a bucket seems
Yeah.
right on par.
Hussey sort of mentioned the whole troll cosplay with all the gray paint with Calliope.
Yeah. Calliope the cherub. She doesn't want to be a cherub. She wants to be a troll. So she wears wigs and puts on gray face paint and
It comes with a
tries to
little Snazaroo
cosplay.
container
She gets a
on
little
it.
Snazaroo container and puts it on.
And she's got a little headband with horns in it, just like they sell.
She eats all the candy and theorizes about what's going to happen next in
She
the
draws
story.
fan art.
She draws all
So,
the fan
so
art.
they make fun of you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
And then the flip side, Caliborn, the other cherub, they share a body. The other cherub, he's the mean side of the fandom. He draws not safe for work out of the characters and writes inappropriate fan fiction. And he trolls people, and he jeers people.
Yeah, you can't say troll. He gets so angry when the characters say he's trolling him. He throws a fit because he's like, "It's not trolling, it's jeering."
I'm jeering you.
Jeering.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we won't jeer. We will cheer.
That's what Calliope does. She cheers and he jeers.
All right. Cheers and jeers. That's from TV Guide. That was their column. They would have a year-end cheers and jeers where they would give cheers to shows that did good things and jeers to shows that did bad things.
The kids pester, the trolls troll, Calliope cheers, and Caliborn jeers.
Well, there's all the adjectives and verbs you need, right? Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we're going to wrap up this episode. Any last words before we sign off? Ooh. Because the next time you hear us, it'll be 2015.
Wow.
2015. This is episode 5, so it's going to be HOME 5 TUCK. Last week's was Hamsteak, right?
Hamsteak. Hamsteak?
Hamsteak?
Homestuck. They came out.
Everybody on Reddit was making fun of how we...
Homestuck.
Hamestuck. And this week will be...
5 to the S is a canon one, so it should be good.
Should be good, right?
Stuck.
And we'll deal with 6 when it happens, right?
Yeah, 6, it replaces O's. So that should be fine.
All right,
we can do that.
Once again, folks, Happy New Year from 91 Reasons and our ongoing Homestuck series, which has fans all around the world. Thanks to everybody in all the countries who are downloading. We couldn't be more humbled and happy that you're taking time out to listen to us. We hope that we're entertaining you. We're certainly entertaining ourselves, so it passes that litmus test. The show is 91 Reasons. I am the voice, Jeff Tucker. If you like the show, please go on iTunes and leave us a 5-star review, because that's the only way the show will climb in the iTunes ratings and be featured more. They have some weird archaic thing that it's not number of downloads, but number of people who are actively engaged in the show. So your reviews mean more to us than you can imagine. Also, if you'd like to support the show, we do have a Patreon page at patreon.com. Just search 91 Reasons. You can pledge as little as $1 just to help out the show every month. It helps with podcast hosting, and we're going to try to buy more microphones so that the show is a little easier to do. Your support is greatly appreciated. We help. We're so grateful that you want to help us. And if you don't want to help us, that's fine too. We're still going to keep doing the show. It's not a make or break thing, but it does make life a little easier. So, you want to be able to keep us in iced coffees and Toblerones, so we're happy doing the show with our Bloblerones, right? Mm-hmm. All right. You can also go on Amazon.com and check out my books. Once you're done reading Homestuck, you can read my novels. I've written 3. They're about 500 pages each. They're a series of books. Number 1 is The Sixth Key. Number 2, The Lost Station. And book 3, The Infinite Backward, all available as a paperback. We'll be at WonderCon selling books live if you'd like to come and say hi and get a signed copy. We'll also be letting folks know that we are the voices behind 91 Reasons. Hopefully you'll find us, because we did see a lot of Homestucks at WonderCon, right? Yeah. So if you're attending WonderCon, make it a point to find the booth selling The Sixth Key. We'll be in the small press area, and we'll also be the voices, the actual idiots behind 91 Reasons. I mean, what better reason could you have to want to go to WonderCon? Look for the kid in the horns, but not the gray skin, because I ain't having that in my car, right, Austin? You want to say goodbye?
Bye.
Bye.
All right, this is 91 Reasons. We're signing off. Happy New Year from your friends at your favorite podcast, 91 Reasons.
Thanks for listening to 91 Reasons. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Find us on Facebook. Is anyone even still listening?
Hello and welcome. Welcome, all you Homestucks. We are standing in the light, and we are beckoning you to come forward, to show yourself. There's no need to hide your Homestuck pride, because here we are. Here we are, episode 6 of our continuing Homestuck podcast series. If we were a movie series, would we be Return of the Jedi or Revenge of the Sith?
Nobody wants to be Revenge of the Sith.
So we'd be Return of the Jedi, Episode 6. If we were Harry Potter, which one would we be?
Half-Blood Prince.
Half-Blood
Which is
Prince.
Arguably the best one.
Which is arguably the best one. Instead, we are 91 Reasons, and we are your one-stop shop. We are the beacon of light in a landscape of darkness. We are your place to gather, to wear your horns proudly, and to spread Homestuck all over the world, which is true, because we have downloads from all over the world who are listening to our weekly gathering of Homestuck information. Now, you guys went from, I don't know if we want to do this, to, hey, it's pretty cool doing this, to, when are we going to do it again, to, we have planned out the show for you tonight, right?
Yes.
All right, I am the voice of 91 Reasons. I am Jeff Tucker. I am joined by my Homestuck resident experts who are...
Austin?
Luna?
And you guys are here. You guys are here to continue our Homestuck exploration, if you will. Do you guys think that we're ever going to reach a point where you go, there's nothing left to say, we've said it all?
No.
There's too much to talk about.
There's too much, right?
There's too much to talk about, and new stuff keeps showing up to talk about.
So there's new stuff every week. Plus it's weird because I know for a while in the podcast universe, when podcasts were very new, the most popular podcast, do you know what it was? Pottermore, Potterverse. It was a Harry Potter one. And they talked hours about Harry Potter. And I wondered, like, I have no idea if they're still doing it or not. I can't imagine that they are. I mean, that's been forever. Hasn't everything been said?
No.
The Pottermore website, she's releasing a new little thing every month
Wasn't there
now.
a new Christmas story that we just
yeah,
released?
they just did 12 Days of Christmas. Every day a new paragraph of story by J.K. Rowling.
Okay.
Malfoy's whole life.
So Homestuck, Hussey keeps putting new information up.
Yeah.
And you guys are able to not only ingest and digest the new information, but you're constantly going over and over and over
Yeah.
the old information.
There's almost 6 years to pull from.
You got to get on the mic.
There's almost 6 years to pull from now.
Now, let me ask you real quick. Is there a certain storyline or segment that seems to be more looked at than the others? Because, like, if we're talking Adventure Time, obviously the Simon Petrikov story is what everybody focuses
Yeah.
on. Is there a Simon Petrikov element to the Homestuck story is my question.
I would have to go with Act 5, Act 1 is the fan
Most of
about.
Act 5.
Most of Act 5.
Anything after 2011, the fans are kind of about because it was
Nobody-
such a weird turn for the comic.
Yeah, nobody really talks about the Alpha Kids
Yeah.
as much as they do of the Beta Trolls.
Anytime you see fan comics or people making stuff, it's either Act 5 or really early Act 6 with them on the meteor.
And what then is the storyline of Act 5 that's so compelling that you want to talk about it again and again?
Because they introduce the 12 Trolls,
that's
which are the
right
most
after
memorable
they introduce
characters.
the trolls, and that's where this plot is still beat the video game and this generic, pretty much just generic beat the video game at that point. The world is set up and the characters are set up, and they're going on their generic adventure. And then Act 6 is where it takes the crazy turn to all the meta stuff, and they start breaking the story and all that.
So if I understand what you're saying, you like when all the characters are introduced, but you don't like that, well, now we've got to do something with them. Is that what you're saying?
Most people. I like the later acts.
I like it when they break the comic, but most people do before the introduction of the characters. Mainly Act 5, Act 1, and Act 5, Act 2.
Yeah. The
Which
trolls introduction.
Because if you're comparing it to Harry Potter, you didn't get a full introduction to all the characters until Goblet of Fire.
Yeah.
Until Voldemort returned at the graveyard, there was still an era of, well, who is Voldemort and what's the big deal? And then finally when he showed up, okay, now all the players are in place. And it's weird you say that because, for me, Goblet of Fire is the best of the series.
It is. The best
To
book.
me, it was the most cinematic. It felt like a complete story that could have been told on its own. After that, again, what do you do? Now you got the villain back, and he's got to come up with a new
They do stuff.
new
now.
plan, right? He can't just sit around, Nagini, and not to spiral into Harry Potter, but the similarities are pretty clear as far as You're talking, if you're talking Harry Potter, like book 4 is, what, 2,000 pages nearly?
Yeah.
Before we get to all the characters finally being introduced?
Yeah.
Because after that, she started just doing flashbacks of
Yeah.
Grindelwald and Dumbledore as a kid and blah, blah,
Or
blah,
the
blah, blah.
Phoenix shows up, and it's like 10 new characters that don't all matter that really.
They're all
just sort of
interchangeable.
there.
Well, they're there
Yeah.
so they can die later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that kind of what the Homestuck thing was? Like they finally introduced
Sort of,
the
yeah.
beta trolls, which you guys are the most proud of,
Hussey
the most
claims
into.
He's never read Homestuck, but the act structure
never read-
really matches. He's never read Harry Potter, I mean. Hussey claims he's never read Harry Potter, but the act structure matches up so well. Homestuck is split into 7 sections, and the villain shows up right at the end of the 5th
And
one.
it's not only filled with Harry Potter references, but he sort of wrote a whole novel spoofing Harry Potter
But
directly.
he says he never read it. He's
Yeah,
just
that doesn't.
spoofing the world.
You can't spoof something you haven't ingested. It doesn't work that way.
He wrote like 300 pages of Wizardry Horrible, and it's just a spoof of Harry Potter.
Then how can he say he hasn't seen Harry Potter?
He says he hasn't.
Well, he's lying.
He's spoofing the genre as a whole, not Harry Potter specifically.
Andrew Hussey is lying. That's a
We
bold
mentioned
statement.
The main villain puts his soul into different pieces of things. as
Oh,
part of-
yeah, he's never seen Harry Potter. Yeah, and you know that John Egbert rides around on a broom. Come on.
One of the
Yeah,
things.
it's a flying horse.
One of the things people really skip.
It's a flying
over-
horse. It's a thestral.
Although it's a reference to Wizard E. Herbert when he rides on a broom. It's the same panel redrawn.
Come on, you guys are nuts if you believe he's never read Harry
Yeah.
Potter.
One of the things that a lot of people I feel skip over and forget is that they directly saw the creation of the villain Lord Inglis.
Everyone has to have all these crazy theories. on
Yeah,
why he
spoiler
exists.
alert, I'm gonna say how he's created. But everybody thinks he's Caliborn grown up, and he's gonna become Lord Inglis. But we see him get created directly in the comic, and it's all a Harry Potter joke, because the character puts part of his soul into a puppet that later gets turned into Doc Scratch, which becomes Lord Inglis.
The big buff Lord English guy that everyone says, that's him, that's Lord English, the villain. That's Caliborn's soul put into a doll, and then the doll was ecto-cloned into another timeline, into sludge, and then it became Lord English. He's like an offshoot of an offshoot.
Yeah.
He's hardly connected to Caliborn at all.
You guys just stopped cold in your tracks.
Yeah.
There was a long pause of Austin going, And I'm like, you can't nod, dude. It's radio. Okay, so what do you got on the list here? The infamous Homestuck list.
We got cosplay.
Cosplay. Now, we've talked about cosplay before, but you didn't think we went into it in depth enough.
No.
And I think the reason you're into this is that WonderCon is on the horizon. It's closer now than it has been. You know, we're far from Kamikaze. We're on the cusp of a new con, and you're putting together all these costumes.
Yeah.
So, what did you want to talk about? Homestuck cosplay.
Just that if you're Homestuck using cosplay, it's an amazing experience.
We talked about that. You talked
Yeah.
about how it's a shorthand of seeing people and knowing exactly what they're into.
Yeah. But at cons, it's even better, because it's not just like a Homestuck t-shirt. They're fully dressed as that character.
Now, you got recognized in your Homestuck cosplay at the bookstore yesterday.
Yeah. it
Some
did
guy was
actually.
like, "Oh my god, man, Homestuck," and I was like, "Tell him you do a podcast." You're like, "No, I'm good.
I'll
So
do
he-
that at WonderCon.
Yeah, you'll do all your sales pitching at WonderCon.
As long as you give me like some business cards.
So, has the online retailers come up with any new versions of costumes or anything? Is like what's out there other than the horns and the T-shirts we've seen?
That's about it. They make the cosplay dresses, which are the full outfits. And they do that of Jade's dress and Whiska's dress.
And all the robots.
And all the robots, that's right.
Who are the robots?
Those robots in the comic.
Various. Aradia has a robot that was built her by Equius. Jade has a robot that was built by her grandpa.
What are the purposes of the robots?
They all have their own purposes.
Jade's was built so that when she dreams, the robot does whatever she's doing in the dream, so they can keep track of her in the dream world. Aradia's was built because she died and Equius was trying to resurrect her soul into a robot so he could make out with her. It worked. And Brobot was created so that Jake could have a sparring partner on the island. But really, Dirk was just spying on Jake.
Seems awfully complicated.
Just like anything else in the comic.
How do you keep track of all this in your head? Because you should know, folks, they're not using any notes.
Yeah,
They're not
no.
looking at anything. There's no laptops open and running. You guys are doing all this from just your memory, your memorization,
Yeah.
your
Read
passion
it a
for
lot.
Homestuck.
I've read the full comic about twice, and I've read some of the pages countless times reading over them.
Well, I remember when you, Luna, started reading Homestuck, you tried to get Austin in. He was kind of a little later after you.
He didn't
So
take a week or two.
you read it in its entirety, and then you would constantly like, "Where are you at? Where are you at?" And he'd go,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, I'm at this part," and it was this constant race to finish. What was it like reading it the first time?
It was
Because you've said you've read it multiple times, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The first time reading it, when I heard about it, I was absolutely not gonna read this thing. It didn't look very good. I didn't like how the sprite mode looked, because at this point I didn't know the comic got so beautiful so later in. I thought the whole comic was just a little sprites, and I thought it was an actual comic book. They had little speech bubbles and everything. And I remember my brother was reading it, and I'm like, I'm not gonna read that. So I finally did sat down with him, and I'm like, okay, what part of this thing are you at? How far has this escalated? The first pixel of Homestuck on the computer I ever saw, other than seeing the cosplayers at cons and knowing about it, the actual first image I ever saw was a pixel of Tavros, which is the Homestuck character with the largest horns in the
Yeah.
comic. These are the ones I almost poked your eyes out with at Kamikaze. And I just, like, cracked up, like, oh my God, what are you reading? There's a guy with giant bull candy cane horns.
Remember that he was dead at the time.
Well, no, he wasn't dead. He was
Yeah,
alive.
The first time you saw me reading was when I was reading Murder
That's
Stuff.
why. It was his dead body.
Tavros' dead
yes.
body.
It was the dead body of this guy with candy corn horns. I'm like, what on earth is this? And I just walked away, and I mocked it for weeks. Like, I would always make the jokes to Big Horns, because it's the only character I ever saw in the
Yeah.
comic, and I had really no reason to read it. Later on, like a day later, I sat down to see how your adventure with the weird bullhorn guy was going. And that's when you got to the point where WV sees John in the car.
Yeah.
And that's what's got me hooked.
Because
Because I had to figure out what this little guy in the coat was. I'm like, that's the most amazing character I've ever seen. Also, the comic looks good. Because by Act 5, it's beautiful.
Yeah, he's in the battlefield, so it's in color.
Yeah, comics in full color, and there's this guy in a bathrobe spraying Bulbasaur everywhere. Bulbasaur saving cream. That's when I got hooked. That's when I found out I gotta read this. So I began reading it, and I thought it was funny at first, because there's not much plot. It's just a kid trying to get the mail in the first few hundred pages.
Yeah, I remember
First thousand.
I first read it, and I read it like all weekend straight, like a whole weekend through. And I got to my friend's Monday. I was like, guys, I made it all the way to Act 3 in one weekend. And they're like, you're getting there.
And Act 3 is when he gets the mail.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't get into like Act 4.
No,
right?
he started the game up by then. He just got the mail, booted the game up.
You have to explain, I don't know if we've gone over this before, but you have to explain what is the appeal of this, because it sounds incredibly tedious.
I don't know.
It's
just,
really
it's such,
nicely written.
It's so weird you have to keep reading.
It's weird, it's funny, it has such an odd plot with such great written characters. Seriously, take your time and read through the pesto logs, which are the internet chat logs between the characters. Don't rush through them. I sort of did rush through it on my first reread, because it was just too much partway through. On my second reread, I took my time, and I really fell in love with the comic and the characters. Like, Hussey does such a good job of writing these characters.
And they all seem to be well defined with personalities.
Yes.
And you kind of know how they're going to act in situations.
Yeah, exactly.
And
There's a lot of character speculation around traits and stuff like that.
Those 9,000
speculation
pages
or
of
head
development.
canon?
Speculation.
Speculation.
Not head canon.
Not head canon.
No head canon.
Give me some head canon.
Oh no.
Oh.
I go by the canon characters. Like when I go online onto Miss Pop, which is the MSPA role-playing website, I try to role-play as the most canon characters possible. I normally have pages of the comic up to reference to, or the vocabulary the characters use often.
So you immerse yourself so you can become the character.
Yeah.
Now, would you go LARPing with Homestuck?
Like live action role-playing?
Yeah, like let me ask you this. If they decided to have a Homestuck summer camp, and it was like 2 weeks up in the mountains where everybody was going to remain in character the whole time, does
Oh
this
my
sound like
God.
something you would want to do?
It sounds like fun.
You would want to do this.
Definitely computers would be allowed. I'd like that, even if it was in the wilderness. Because
Is it in like the flarping in the comic? Because that is
Yeah.
people dead.
No, there wouldn't be any death. You might have trouble getting insurance if you were guaranteeing death at the end of the convention or the camp out.
You gotta sign a waiver, though. You may get knocked down some stairs or hit with buckets in the process.
But what I mean by that question is, when you go to the conventions and you go down to Homestuck Land, do you feel like I could just stay here forever? Or is there a point where you're like, okay, I need to get back to reality?
No. I mean, you can go... I play Gary's mod, and you can go on the Homestuck server, and it's exactly like that, basically. Now, don't get me wrong, live action is obviously a better experience because you're talking to people in person. But it is still great to go on the Gary's Mod server because it's just like a con. Everyone's playing as the characters, some are wall playing. Why would you want to immerse yourself back in real life?
Real life is for people who can't handle Homestuck, right?
At WonderCon, we were all playing card games while in cosplay, some in character. One person was playing David Bowie on their iPod.
Weren't you playing Spin the Bottle of Faygo?
Yeah, it was Spin the Faygo. And everyone was in character, too. It was great.
In characters playing Spin the Faygo.
In character, Spin the Faygo.
Why would you want to do this?
Why not?
Why not? What reason is there not to do? What else are you going to do? I mean, you run around the floor, you shop, you see the thing you like, you buy it, you go to a panel or two, but then what?
So now that you're older, and we go to WonderCon, are we going to see you, or are you just going to be, look, I found the Homestucks, I'll see you, it's Friday, I'll see you Sunday?
That's what I plan to do. I mean, it's what I planned to do last year until I got horribly ill, and I fell asleep at your booth, remember?
Yeah,
I had to get, that's the first time I've ever gone to the pharmacy that's in the con. I didn't even know they had that.
You went to the con first aid.
There's a con first aid. It's like a full pharmacy.
Wasn't Madame Pomfrey there? And she was like, here's some chocolate, dear.
Basically. Really.
Skelegro.
I've got some Skelegro and some chocolate for you.
And that gave me...
He is not to be disturbed.
That gave me, the strength I need to go sopping and walk around a bit, but certainly not to go back to the meetup.
Yeah, now you got to take care of yourself leading up to the con. You got to have some orange juice and some vitamin C.
There's a lot of things I've learned that I've got to take in effect. Number one is no big props. Don't do big props.
Well, you were the dummy who wanted a zilly-hoo, and I told you while we were making it, I told you, you're never going to carry this thing more than 10 minutes.
I'll go with more lightweight props from now on.
Big props are for cosplayers who stand in one spot all day and take pictures. You want to go out and have a grand adventure with all the Homestucks. And the last thing you need is well, hold on, I got to go get my zilly-hoo.
You still got to help me make some props, though. I have a chainsaw that needs to be painted.
A chainsaw?
Yes.
For what?
Kanaya. I don't know if it actually... I probably would cosplay the character, actually. I just want it to hang on my wall. But I've been wall-playing as Kanaya lately, and it's been a lot of fun. So I would consider cosplaying the character.
So is there ever a time during the day that you're you, or are you somebody else all the time?
I love to role-play as the characters.
That wasn't an answer.
I'm me sometimes, but I prefer to role-play.
Because you wear the full gear to school.
Yes.
Now, hey, that begs the story of... Which cosplay costume got you kicked out of school?
I can successfully say that not only have I been banned as Carcat from video game servers while playing as him, but I've been banned from school. Now, everyone listening to this is probably going to go, oh no, in-character cosplay as Carcat to school, it's a terrible idea, because the character is so ennui. Well, I wasn't actually in character at all. I was just dressed as Carcat, but that was bad enough for the school already. I remember being in class, and the substitute who was there, because school is mostly substitutes now, because the whole Common Core thing, got the phone, and I don't know why they got it. Next moment, I was being escorted by police into a golf cart. This really happened. I didn't know what was happening at the moment. I'm like,
they're
what?
Take him into custody.
Yeah, I'm like, what's happening?
He's dressed as Carcat, and he's got to be taken out immediately.
I told the lady who was in the car, I said, what's happening? Why is it happening? And she said, you're violating the dress code. We need to go see. And I'm like, I'm violating the dress code? The horn's violating the dress code? And she explained that, sometimes it's like speeding. Sometimes you get caught and sometimes you don't. And I'm like, so I'm committing a crime while playing as Carcat? And not while playing, just cosplaying. I'm a criminal is what you're saying? But then they finally took me up and explained that my sort is awful because it is a very suggestive, inappropriate sort. And I'm like, Is there something wrong with the zodiac?
Which zodiac sign was it?
Cancer.
Cancer. And Cancer is a 6 and a 9 drawn stylistically on its side. So if you tilt your head and squint and have a dirty mind, it says 69.
Yes. You have to tilt it and alter the shape and think of it differently in your head. And then it's the number 69, which then if you have a dirty mind, can see it as something else.
But you could squint, twist, twirl, and mutilate anything to be dirty if you wanted to.
Really? Yes, you could.
And we told this to the school. We said, you guys are being ridiculous.
Yeah.
Straight A student, and the substitute's got a problem because he kind of thinks it might look like something.
The thing is, I was in the back of the class, and you could hardly see my sort because of a desk. He actually had to, look at me and squint. He was just staring at me. It was creepy is what it was.
It sounds like the teacher had issues.
Yeah.
Like he had some serious issues. And I can attest to that because growing up in the 80s, we had substitutes, and some of them were just the meanest people ever. Like they just did not know how to smile or have a good time. And it's like, you know what? You chose this career, pal.
Yeah.
No one forced you to become a teacher. I am sorry that you hate your job, but why are you taking it out on me?
One time we had a substitute. I know I'm going off topic here, but one time I had a substitute who got called in as a substitute because the teacher went absent and the other substitute was supposed to take their place. And they're like, I'm supposed to be at home and I'm supposed to see you guys, so I already hate you guys. And I'm like, this is your job. You signed up for this. You're getting paid for this.
So you just ended up with one who was like, I don't like the way your shirt looks. I think it might be dirty.
Yeah.
So he didn't even tell you that.
No, he didn't.
He just was like, he picked up the phone.
He didn't say anything.
And he had the hired goons come escort you out. And you were like, hired goons?
That happens a lot. Whenever students behaving badly, the substitute doesn't say anything. They just get on the phone and get the biggest heavy police force they can to escort the student out.
You know the new law in 2015 in California, right?
No.
You know the willful disobedience zero tolerance law that you kept getting stuck in. See, the thing is, in California, if a teacher tells you to do something or act a certain way, you must comply. If you resist in any way, you are being willful disobedient, and they can call the cops, your parents, anybody, and get you out. You're aware. That's what happened to you, right? Well, guess what? That law's no longer in effect.
Oh.
You're able to resist now. If you don't feel the teacher is being appropriate or right, you can resist without retaliation.
Because that what they did was just wrong. And I'm pretty sure they did break some law out there by doing this, because I was told by everyone I talked to that they legally cannot do that. They took my stress away. They just took it away. Like, without calling parents or anything.
Yeah, no, we weren't called till long. I mean,
Luke had
Luna
to call.
called us
Yeah.
after the event was over. The school, and when I called about it, the school was like, we don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, how can you guys not know what's going on at your own school? You took a kid's shirt away. What did they give you to wear?
A school pride shirt that didn't fit me. It was way too small.
A school pride
It had a
shirt.
big eagle on the front.
Did you have school pride while you were wearing it?
No.
No. Because of why?
Because they took my sword away. And the worst part was when they called Luna up, they just took the sweatshirt away. They didn't even give him a replacement. They were just like, we're taking it away.
They just took my jacket.
Because
Well, what Luna said to me was, I could already tell the argument had gone on, and I wasn't going to
I already
win.
knew Austin had gone over. They were with Austin for a while, so I was like, just take the jacket. I know what happened.
Yeah, and that's a blanket statement for you guys is if there's an issue, just comply, because you know if you guys are right, I'm gonna fight for you.
Yeah.
And I left work and I spent all day on the phone rattling around with those guys.
They wouldn't talk to
No,
me
they
no
wouldn't
more.
even talk to me. We're not. It was almost as if I was asking about a Shark Tale playset. Refer to my DreamWorks episode for the story on that. We're not going to be able to help you, sir.
all this drama over Homestuck.
Homestuck has invaded your personal life and
Yeah.
had you basically thrown out of school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it worth it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Oh,
it's
yeah,
affected-
yeah.
I'm gonna wear
it's-
my jacket soon.
It's affected my life in so many good ways, you know? It's made me more social than I ever was, and it really has changed me. Because before I was reading Homestuck, I was like a different person entirely. I was not social. I would never talk to anybody.
Would you have ever considered doing a show like this before Homestuck?
Absolutely not.
Would
no.
you have done an Adventure Time podcast?
No. Even when I liked Adventure Time, it was just a thing I liked. It wasn't I was probably going to be over it in like a week. The only reason I still watch it now is because of it's like Homestuck's weird sister.
But when you guys get hooked into something, you go full bore. Because before Homestuck, when there was just Adventure Time, you would spend all day on the Land of Ooh message boards.
That's all there was to do.
Gathering tokens or something to buy. What were you going to buy? What was that all about?
Badges.
You
Okay.
get little badges.
They
next
had
to your
an
name.
Adventure Time forum called thelandofwho.com where you can get little badges next to your name. And this caused the biggest uproar because there was a guy named Mordecai626.
Mordecai626, your sworn enemy out of Brazil.
Yeah, he was more like a friendly enemy.
He's probably listening.
Yeah, I know. It's all.
We should say right now that you are Goont my fries.
Yeah,
Oh!
I'm still good my files everywhere. Tumblr, Steam, any website. But this Mordecai guy, when the badges came out, was like, I'm gonna have all the badges. Every single one. And I'm like, well, I also want all the badges. But the badges were limited. Some of them, there was only one. And whoever made the most first posts got that badge. I think it was the Enchiridion was the big one.
Yeah.
Where there was only one in the world.
You had to get, other than you could buy all these little ones for like 2,000 points, which is like post 20 times, and this was like 1 million, and there was only one available.
Yeah.
Once it's gone, it's gone.
Gone forever.
Wasn't there a time where you got thrown off the forums or something?
Oh, multiple times. It's happened a lot. There was a point where the competition turned into such a joke that I didn't care anymore. But this Mordecai guy was so obsessed with getting all the badges that I just created all these alternate troll accounts and kept getting banned and banned and banned.
And you had a name for him.
What?
What's that name for your enemy that you like or like? What is it?
Oh,
What do you mean?
Kismasis.
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 Now,
Quadrants.
Explain
Quadrants.
Kismasis.
Kismasis is a relationship. Okay, we're gonna go into quadrants, aren't we?
You do it. We've got a half hour to fill here, man.
Trolls in Ortonia have 4 types of love: Kismasis, Auspicism, Matesputship, and the Asin
Moira
Quad.
allegiance.
Oh, more allegiance. Sorry, I got them all mixed up.
Tisk tisk.
More
Hussey
Kismasis.
just unsubscribed.
Look, I'd rather memorize all the leprechaun clovers, okay? Which is something we'll discuss in a later
I
episode.
can memorize
right?
that. It's purple horseshoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember all the Lucky Charms. I don't know them off the bat of my
You don't
head.
know the leprechaun
No.
charms? Those are the types of leprechaun love.
What are they?
You do a little jig to your mate, and if
Yeah.
they jig back, like, are you in Star Heart's horseshoe with someone? Are you
Yeah,
rainbow pot of gold Lucky Charms hat?
They're magically delicious.
Yes. In the comic, one of the characters opens a door up. This is in the spin-off comic, Paradox Space. They open up a door, and there's 2 of the leprechauns, and they're doing a little Irish jig together, and the guy's like, oh, you two, just get like a room or something. Oh my god, not
Are they
here.
going like, yeah.
But that's considered inappropriate to them.
Yeah.
But back to troll love.
But real quick, are you upset that Mordecai guy got his own movie and Johnny Depp's going to play him now? Johnny Depp is Mordecai.
Remember, when I was in Land of Who, I didn't know what a Homestuck was. Now, Luna here did. They created a Carcat account.
I created a Carcat account. It lasted like an hour.
1 hour before they got banned.
Were you thrown off
Yeah, I was
too?
just-
Land of
thrown right
Who
off.
was amazing because they had a feature that I think's gone from the website now. It may have been back. They lost it, and that's why.
Which one?
They had a feature that no other website has had. They had a running live chat that forever ran up. You could just go in a chat room, and any other 4 member could get in there, and you could live post, not just the
Unopause has
threads.
that, but it's a misparp.
Yeah.
They've had that since the dawn of the
Yeah.
internet. That's why the internet was created for live chat. You're going like, wait a minute. They had this really cool thing nobody else had where you could live
Well-
chat. That's why the internet was invented, you dolt.
The thing is, Land of
Are you
Who-
kidding me? That's why Al Gore invented the internet in 1992.
But those websites don't exist anymore. Land of Who is the last of its kind.
What about GeoCities?
Gone. I mean, come on.
I follow a blog on Tumblr. They have all the GeoCities screen capped, and every hour they just post a random one.
Oh,
It's
for
great.
God's sake. Archaic old websites.
But back to troll love.
We gotta get back
We
to
gotta get
troll
back to troll
love.
love.
We've got to bring it back to troll love, and then maybe cherub love.
Mate
But
sprit ship. It's the 4
Card suits.
It's the 4 card suits. Heart, mate sprit ship is basically generic human love.
it's when you have flust feelings for each other.
And then Diamond, which is Pale or Moira Allegiance.
It's like a friendship, but a bit closer.
Yeah, they're like platonic soulmates.
Exactly.
They help each other's negative traits. Kismesis, which is Spades, is a hate-love. It's... I don't know how to explain it.
It's
like
a-
arch
it's a
nemesis.
rivalry.
Like, a lot of cartoons do it, where the main melodrama villain and melodrama hero are, like, kind of friends. The
Yeah.
Verb does it. I don't know.
You're saying they have a begrudging respect for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not just like total enemies. I hate everything you do. You're like, you know, if circumstances were different, we might go out for coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying.
It's they're nemesis, but they end up making out in the end.
Like in
Yeah.
Mystery Men, where you're my greatest nemesis. Nemesis. And what's clubs?
That's the complicated one no one
Yeah.
likes. It's when one of the other three quadrants isn't working right. They're having a bad relationship, and a third person comes in to auspice their relationship.
But it that doesn't go in order, because if you go in the order of what you're talking about, the club should be total hate. It's love, friendship, enemies who respect each other,
Yeah.
and then it should just be enemies, hate. The
No.
other end of the spectrum.
No.
No, it's the people who help the other relationships, and it's a legitimate feeling. Like Kanaya gets it constantly. You have a
Yeah.
feeling that you need to help their relationship.
It's like a real romantic feeling that trolls have.
Yeah.
Like what, buying flowers? I don't understand.
No, they have there are 4 types of love. They have 4 types of attraction. They need love, hate, friendship, and neutrality in their lives, or they're hormonal and unbalanced.
Oh, so they're women. Okay, you should have just said that to begin with. Folks, we won't be spending any time trying to explain women. There is no way to explain women. I'm sorry. Just when you think you have a woman figured out, she will change the rules. If you take her to her favorite restaurant 2 weeks in a row, on week 3, she will tell you, I don't even like that restaurant. So, yes, that is the quadrant of women. We will not be explaining that. That is no way anything that we can come up with.
That's pretty much how trolls behave.
Yeah, exactly.
The love system is designed as a way of trolls create humans when they beat their game. So but their game was glitched. So we only took the love aspect of their biology. Likewise, when cherubs are created, which they haven't yet, we don't know how yet, but when they are created, they will only get the hate side. They can only feel Kismesis. They can only feel the hate love. That's
Yeah.
it. That's all they know.
Their way of complimenting is insulting someone. They all want to have rivals, but also pals.
But how can you have a storyline if you know from the get-go that a person's not going to change? The whole point of any epic story, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Harry Potter, is that the characters have to go through a change, a metamorphosis. They have to learn a lesson and become a different person. That's the nature of drama. If you're saying that your characters are born this way, they will always be this way, then there's no chance for change.
No, because each character is given a subplot for that very reason. It's kind of obvious, but so is everything else in the comic. They fit a specific pattern of how the characterization works. And every character has some major flaw that they have to solve. John's relationship with his dad, Rose's relationship with her mom, Dave's irony, Jade's loneliness, Roxy's drinking, Jane's niceness,
Yeah.
Jake's absent-mindedness, Dirk's splintered heart,
Hussey's lack of a video game.
Hussey's lack of love for Vriska.
Vriska?
Yeah, Hussey's in love with Vriska.
How can you be in love with your own character?
He is. It started on the Form Spring. Someone asked, is Pfeffery chubby? And he said, it's a visual comic.
Because this is when Hussey finally learned about headcanons.
Headcanons happened. And someone asked him, how about Vriska? Is she chubby? He was like, yeah, she's the chubbiest of them all. Can't you see? Do you hate chubby people? Is that why there's no chubby people in your comic? No, I love chubby people. Like, Vriska is the chubbiest of them all. We're gonna get married. It'll be at SeaWorld. She'll be lifted in by crane.
He
What
really
would
said
you do
this.
if you have Vriska in your bedroom? I would get a crane to get her out.
Why do you like this
And
guy?
then
He does not
someone-
sound like a nice guy.
Someone sent to him
The best
one
one.
is someone said, "Thank you for having unique characters that are what is it? Big bone."
Thank you for
Wait.
having big bone characters in your comic. My son is big bone. It's nice to have someone for him to look up to. And he was like, "Your son disgusts me." That's all he said. Your son disgusts me.
That's terrible. She's opening up her heart to the creator of this thing. Like, if we met Hussey, we did meet Hussey, but if he had been rude, like, I'm not starstruck by anybody.
Yeah. But
Very rarely. I would have looked at the guy and said, "Look, I'm going to take you out back and take a few
It's a
pokes at
joke.
you."
But Andrew Hussey and the Huss are entirely different people.
The thing about the Huss is
It's a
that
character almost.
it's a character and everything he says is a joke, but the fandom doesn't take it that way sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's what things can get angry between the fandom.
But it's still Andrew Hussey as the Huss.
Yeah.
So when he says something terrible, that's like when people on Twitter go, "You know what? You're a terrible human being." LOL. I'm just kidding. No. LOL or a happy face emoji don't take away the sting of the terrible thing you just said. So what you're saying doesn't hold water
But he
because
puts it
it's
on-
still Hussey, no matter how many layers of characters are on it. It's still him.
But then he puts it all in the comic and it becomes a story element. Like, maybe he sent those annons to himself to set this up.
Oh, that's what you want to believe. That is a big plan.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to know or think that God's in control.
But the guy who sent the thing, "My son sees a character as a role model," is a joke, obviously. Because it was after he went on about how he's going to get married at SeaWorld with Visco
Yeah.
with the crane. And someone sent that to us just to mess with him. This happens all the time. People make alt accounts to mess with Hussey.
Yeah.
Well, of course they do, Clown Lord.
Yeah, but when Vriska shows up in the comic, when Hussey finally gets to her, he proposes to her. And ever since, whenever Vriska's in the comic, Hussey's always drawn the background stalking her.
His own character.
His own character, the 13-year-old alien.
That would be so weird. That'd be like Todd McFarlane stalking Spawn. Like, he can do whatever he wants. He wrote and created the guy.
But he did Death of the Author, which is the metaphoric way of saying he's lost control of the story. Lord English kills Hussey, which is the way of saying he's lost control of his own writing and the characters have taken over.
Well, that's what happens.
Yeah.
If you write the same story long enough, the characters will dictate how the storyline goes.
Yes.
I'm discovering that in my own book because there are times when I want the story to go a certain way, but you can't figure out how to make the character do it because the more you make them do it, the less they are that character's true spirit.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately, not to digress, but that's ultimately why Revenge of the Sith falls apart. It's because Padme is shown as an incredibly strong person in 2 complete movies. And then by the end of the 3rd, because some guy won't love her, she dies in childbirth. That's not the Padme we've seen the whole time. The Padme we've seen the whole time would have given birth on her own, cut the cord with a lightsaber, and continued fighting Anakin 5 minutes later. And the idea that the robot goes, "She's dying. We don't know why." Well, we do know why, because the plot says she has to die. But that's not good enough. So what you're talking about makes perfect sense if the characters are so well defined that the creator himself is having trouble maneuvering the story the way he
That's
wants.
just not just a nonsense idea. They have a name for that. It's from some French philosophy writing where they wrote about that subject. And what's translated, they called it the death of the author in the comic, or the book, or the movie, or whatever.
And that's the point at which the characters take over.
Yes. When Lord English kills Hussey, you go to a special page that it's not on MSPA. He coded it from scratch, so it's got a special border and everything. And it's mspainadventures.com/DOTA.
Isn't
Death
the
of
page
the
command
author.
called DOTA?
I think it's a bunch of question marks. DOTA is only in the URL.
Oh, okay.
Death of the author.
Death of the author. And then right after that, no, it was right before that, Hussey is a robot, and Lord English kills that too, and that's the saying that Duke Ek Machina can't kill him. He destroys the machine. That shows the god in the machine can't kill Lord English. So he does 2 big metaphorical writing things right
He's
there.
trying to show that a Deus Ex Machina cannot save the day.
Yeah, but okay, because I was saying you've got that kind of backwards because what you're talking about are the old Greek plays where the character would get into such a terrible situation that there was no possible way for himself to get out of it.
Yes.
So literally a god would come out of the sky on a rope and wave his hand and make everything better.
Yes.
And the ancient Greeks just accepted that as a storytelling device. Now we will not accept that anymore. The last time they got away with that was The Matrix, because at the end, Neo becomes a god, waves his hand, and everything's fine.
Yeah.
But you can't use that a lot,
but they
because
called
otherwise you'll be accused of copping out at the
Yeah,
end.
what they called that in the plays was because he comes in the pulley system, they called it Duke Ek Machina, which is God in the machine. So Hussey, as the God character, the writer, the self-insert of himself, creates a machine of himself. So he's a literal God in a machine that Lord English then kills to show that he can't be killed that way.
Okay, so if the robot is supposed to represent Hussey in the comic and robot form, that
He's
really
the god
is
in
the
the
god of the
machine.
machine, which shouldn't be able to be killed,
Yeah,
because you can't kill God,
he did.
because
He kills the machine and then God himself.
because in either case, whether you're talking about an all-powerful God, you can't kill him, or if you're talking about an abstract God who doesn't truly exist, you can't kill that either.
Yeah.
You can't kill the unstoppable, all-powerful God, and you certainly can't kill the God that ain't there, which
Yeah.
is interesting.
But he manages to.
Right, but he's using it as a metaphor to tell you
Yes.
that this character, Lord English, is a badass,
Uh-huh.
not to be messed with, and anybody who messes with him is going to die.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that just led to so much speculation of what's going to kill him. Because it means something with value earlier is going to kill him. It's going to be Betty Crocker, or it's going to be
Stairs.
a cake, or stairs, or something we've seen.
Well, in most good stories, the villain has to be undone using the very thing that they were using to try to assert their will over everyone.
Yeah.
Because you want to tell the audience that if this guy had just stayed home for the day, he'd still be alive. Instead, like, Tarkin had to build the Death Star. And because he built the Death Star, they blew it up with him on it. Voldemort had to spend his lifetime searching for the Elder Wand, so that when he tried to take it, it would bounce back and kill him. You can see the thing. The best stories are when the very thing that they were trying to do is what kills them. You know, the Matrix invented the machines made the Matrix to hold mankind hostage, and Neo turned it on them, the machines, and took control of it. So that's a recurring theme in the better stories. You know, look at if you look at your generation, look at Lion King. You know, if Scar had just let Simba die, he'd be fine.
Yeah.
He would have led the pride, but instead he has to go, I killed Mufasa, so that Simba can go, screw this, man, I'm not going to die. My father's death wasn't, he takes all the guilt away, thereby the situation that Scar created, not only with Simba, but with the hyenas, is what is his undoing, because they turn against him. If Scar had never messed with the hyenas in the first place, they wouldn't have been there to kill him. So every great story, whether you recognize it or not, subconsciously, the greatest villains are undone. So we don't know how Lord English is going to ultimately end, right?
Because we haven't seen his uprising.
Right, but it has to be something that he's created being his undoing. Because if it's not, then it's just stupid.
It's hard because the way Hussey's writing the comic, the whole comic's written out of order. You don't get to see certain events till later because of all the time travel and crazy stuff. We don't know what Caliborn's doing yet. We know he's writing bad anime in a vault somewhere, and later he's a big hulking monster that was ectoed from a puppet.
We already know it's the
Yeah.
Papa Soul.
Yeah, that is destroying the universe for an unknown reason. It just likes wrecking things. He's apparently looking for his sister.
And what will happen when he finds his sister?
He's gonna kill her
Oh, he's gonna kill her
again.
So there's no
Well, here's the thing.
no reason
He
for her
has
to be
goal.
found.
He's literally destroying reality. He'll zap the comic, and bits and pieces of the comic will tear off.
The reason is because Caliborn hates his sister. He killed her in the
killed
comic.
her.
And
And then-
when he puts part of his soul into a puppet, it's not Caliborn. It's just the one part of his soul that says, hate sister, kill sister.
He killed his sister. Sister was sent to the afterlife. Caliborn becomes a god. Now he wants to kill his sister in the afterlife, so she's dead. And that's it.
So he wants to go to his recycle bin and delete the file he deleted, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
That part of his soul does.
Does Lord English have any kind of master plan other than we know he wants to kill somebody, but that in itself doesn't make a good villain?
He's just flying around the multiverse, blowing things up until he finds her. But what was introduced really, really late, just last spring, is the ultimate Juju. And this is supposedly the thing that's going to finally show what he wants. All we know is he spoke to the Denizen, which is like the boss battle of the video game. And the Denizen told him, you can make a choice. You can kill me and take my power, or I can kill you and a great evil will never come to the world. So, of course, he killed the thing and took its power.
Of course.
Which is the ultimate Juju, which is supposedly going to give him these almighty powers, even bigger than the buff Lord English. He's going to be the greatest thing and destroy the universe.
A lot of people think he's going to become the Lord English that we see in the comic, but that's not true.
Characters in the comic have figured out you can use the Juju twice. Once will make him powerful, twice will destroy him. But they finally got this Juju. It was introduced, explained, and then found within like 10 pages. And all it is the logo of Homestuck in all white. And when John put his hand through it, his hand appeared outside the comic. And then teleported through different pages of the comic.
It's some sort of device that makes you travel between the comic and in and out of the website. It's a meta device.
It transcends reality.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the only thing that can beat Caliborn, the Lord of Time. He's the Lord of Time is his title. The only way you can beat time travel is with canon travel.
Well, yeah, sure.
Space.
Because time travel's nothing if some guy can just alter reality.
Yeah. So that's what John's been trying to do lately. We don't know how it's going to end up.
Is there any indication as to how many pages are left of Homestuck before the chapter closes?
There's about 50 or so left in this act. The next act is Caliborn's masterpiece, and his sections aren't very long, normally about 50, 60 pages, but Halsey says this one's going to be important, so we're guessing a couple hundred this time. And then there's one more act intermission, which
like
is
Mars Attacks?
Which are about 400 to 500 pages. And then there's the final Act 6, which is, Hussey says, just a few flashes of the final battle. And then Act 7, which is an epilogue, which is probably going to be also just a few giant flashes.
I don't think there's any ending that they could come up with that would be satisfactory to you guys.
No.
Because let's each make our prediction. And then when Homestuck finally ends, we can go back and listen to this episode. I'm going to predict that Lord English gets the Juju, transcends reality, escapes the comic book like the Aha video, right? Take on me.
That's exactly my theory.
Oh my god.
Oh,
That's exactly my
let me
theory.
finish my
I
theory.
was gonna, no, okay.
No, it's my theory first because I don't know what I'm talking about. So he transcends reality, escapes the comic book like the Aha video, kills Hussey, becomes God himself, and remakes the universe in his own image. And that's the last thing is like all the characters are now everybody's Lord English. Like the scene in Being John Malkovich when Malkovich goes into his own brain. That's it. Because if that were the case, it would be the ultimate nod to Con Air, because Malkovich is the main villain, Cyrus the Virus of Con Air, and he's in Being John Malkovich. If this is a movie, if you've not seen this, where these guys discover a portal that lets you go into John Malkovich's head for like 45 minutes. You get to control him like a puppet, and then it shoots you out onto the New Jersey Turnpike. Real movie. So Malkovich gets word of this and gets so angry that he ends up at the portal, and he walks through. And when he walks through, he's in a universe where everybody is Malkovich. And he walks through this restaurant where they're trying to order food, and the guy's going, Malkovich? Oh, Malkovich.
God.
That's the ending of Homestuck, but instead it's Lord English. His final vision will be that he is Malkovich. He will walk through the portal, remake himself as God, remake the world in his image, and everybody will be going, English, Lord English, Lord English.
Oh,
all right, I'm going on record. That's my theory for the end-all, be-all of Homestuck.
It's Mel's theory, I thought.
I don't even know what I'm talking about. I just know that from a writer's point of view, that's what I would do. Because imagine, like, here's what I imagine. You guys have read the comic. Imagine the final frames is photos of Andrew Hussey in his home working at his computer as an animated guy comes up behind him and just bashes him right in the head. And Hussey's dead eyes reflect Lord English staring at him as Lord English slowly becomes real. He becomes flesh and blood. And Hussey's life force drains, and he becomes a Homestuck-esque character laying on the floor.
And
oh, yeah.
Are you saying that's how he got the self-insult in the comic?
Yes.
That's why it makes sense?
That's it. I'm dropping the mic right there.
That is a pretty good theory.
Thank you. What's your theory for the ending?
What I'm thinking is that Hussey's going to do the rest of this act, then the Caliborn act, which is his masterpiece because he's redefined his art style. Now, I'm going to point out that he has a new art style now. He doesn't draw a bad anime. He has a unique art style because he can only draw 90-degree angles. He's figured out he can draw 90-degree angles each time in like a shape to create characters. The result looks like Take On Me. Exactly like Take On Me. And I think that's going to be a direct reference because my theory is that once we get through the Caliborn act, and the next act, and I think the next act after that is going to wrap up the rest of the Will Homestuck story with all the current villains. And, because there's a lot of villains in the comic right now, like the Condis. That'll wrap up that story. And for the final act, I don't think Hussey's going to end it. He said Homestuck only goes to Act 7, and I partly think yes it does, but Hussey's going to break the comic. The characters are going to escape.
We're never getting to Act 7.
No, the finale's going to be outside of the comic, and it's going to be drawn like Take On Me. That's what I'm saying right now. It's going to start with one character leaving the comic in a flash, but it will spread, and the finale will be entirely, like, on the What Pumpkin side. It'll be crazy.
That's the only way it can be satisfactory.
Yeah.
Is if the end of Homestuck looks like that scene where Homer goes into the erotic cake bakery.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Is it so meta already? I don't know how you do a finale.
You transcend it.
It's kind
the
of like-
characters themselves break the prison walls of their own creation and emerge better people. That's how you do it.
That's how you do it. I really hope the Take On Me was a reference on purpose.
Yeah, I think it is. It's close enough.
It looks so much like the art style, and there's so much meta build-up, because the story practically is Take On Me. That's what's going right now.
Luna,
I don't,
your theory for the end.
Sure. I don't have a big in-game theory. I specialize in update to update.
Oh, I know.
stuff.
You're the minutia guy.
Yeah.
I wanted to build this big monumental ending that would be full circle satisfactory.
It's got to be an epic ending.
Yeah.
It has to end with something to do with retconning, something to do with getting out of the comic. John eventually has to show up in other websites. He's zapped everywhere now. Caliborn has a DeviantArt account. There's a real DeviantArt account you can go to that is a Caliborn in character, and it's really Hussey, and he's even talked to fans on there.
As Caliborn.
Yeah. So where do you go past that?
You guys have never seen a lot of episodes of Star Trek Next Generation. There was an episode...
Hussey, okay,
Right.
before we say this, let me just point out that Andrew Hussey is the biggest Next Generation fan ever.
Try this one on. There's an episode where it's called Elementary, My Dear Data, where Data, the android, goes into the holodeck and takes part in a Sherlock Holmes adventure. And he faces wits with Moriarty. Moriarty is so smart, he escapes the holodeck, takes over the Enterprise, and demands that unless they give him a shuttle and his life, he will destroy the Enterprise. So at the end, they give him everything that he wants. And they're all shocked that Picard is standing by while everybody lets Moriarty get on a shuttle and leave the Enterprise, like, to start his life in the universe, right? It's a really shocking ending because the bad guy wins. And what happens is, as soon as he leaves the Enterprise, they pull back and they're in the holodeck.
It was all
in the
part
holodeck.
of the
No, it wasn't.
simulation?
They tricked Moriarty into going back into the holodeck.
And they
what-
made a simulation in which he escapes.
Yes, so what happens, they show you a little cube, and he goes, there's enough memory in here for Moriarty to have a lifetime of adventures without ever hurting anybody.
Wow.
So I could see, like, imagine what I spun for the ending, but end it a little differently, and instead, Hussey gets trapped in Homestuck in situations that he's okay with, so he's never aware that he's in a prison. And, like, the final scenes are Hussey with Bruce Willis in Armageddon. and they're like fighting to save the Earth, and like Hussey gets to live out all his fantasies. He's also like he's sitting next to Cameron Poe in Con Air.
John's done that.
Yeah, I don't know.
John's already been in Con Air.
I had no idea. See,
Well,
I'm not the expert you are.
Yeah.
I'm simply making this up to what I would think would
John
make
can
good
only
drama.
Go to Canon MS Paint Adventures panels, but there's a panel where John's watching Con Air, so he teleports into that panel into the movie.
So it's
he
already
gets
been
to be
done.
there.
So it would be easy to do that.
Yeah, a little bit. That's in the movie, in the comic. You're talking about leaving the comic and going to the movie.
No, I'm talking about Lord English leaving the comic.
Yeah.
Taking over as God, and this first act is imprisoning Hussey within his own cheesy
Yeah.
movies, where Hussey wakes up and he's Cameron Poe, like the flick sinks in Ready
yeah.
Player One,
He's stuck in
except
flick sync
you can't get
hell.
out. So he's perpetually saying, "Why can't you just put the bunny back in the box?" How about that? All right. Well, I'll tell you what. No matter how Homestuck ends, and what's the time frame? Is there a time frame for when we're going to see the end?
No.
Is it in our lifetime?
That leads us into the only. Our list was cosplay and hiatus. We're finally getting to hiatus.
Hiatus.
Yeah, Hussey just sent a news update last night. As of the 19th, next week or so, he's gonna stop the comic again.
So there's no end in sight.
No, he says he has most of it written. The comic's almost entirely written done. He's almost there, but he hasn't drawn any more of the comic. So he's gonna pause it, draw the next act, and then slowly bring that act out over a few months while he writes the ending to Homestuck.
Do you ever foresee us sitting down to do an episode where we go, well, he ended it.
Maybe
Let's
like,
talk about it.
Maybe like 4/13/2016 seems to be a good end date right now.
Oh my! 2 more years. 2 more years.
Yeah.
Oh, a year and a half.
Year and a half.
Year and a half. I'm
Didn't
sorry.
Hussey once mention on a news post that a lot of fans thought the end date was 2013, 4/13?
Yes. His original thing was he was going to start in April 2009 and end it August 2010, a little over a year. We're at 6 now, and he doesn't know. He's still working on it.
Well, we don't know either. We have no idea.
2013 was supposedly the end, and
After the Kickstarter, he said that's when it's going to end. Remember the Kickstarter
The
said
Kickstarter said the comic's probably going to end next 4/13ish. We got there. That's where the day I started reading, and he made a news post saying it is now the end for a few months as we go on pause.
Well, here's what I would say. He's sitting down. He's got the end. Like, remember J.K. Rowling wrote the end of Harry Potter long before it was published.
and then filled in all the gaps.
Right. So he's sitting there and he's like, well, I think I've got the ending to Home. This is my Andrew Hussey voice. I think I've got the end to Home and stuck right here. I'm thinking about ending it. And his wife is like, you know that the T-shirt sales made $25,000 yesterday. Well, maybe I won't end it yet. I'd hate to see this thing go the way of Lost.
He talked about that last year. He said he has all these things lined up to keep the franchise going after it's over. He's always had ideas for bigger comics, but he doesn't want Homestuck to die. So he's working on the video game, the merch, Paradox Space, and one more thing he can't say yet. And that's supposedly going to be enough to keep the franchise alive.
Well, we can't wait to see what the future holds for Homestuck as we continue our journey into the outer fringes of the internet and the Homestuck era and people and places. We will be at WonderCon this April in Anaheim. Look for the small press area. The book is my book, The Sixth Key. We will be selling all 3 copies of my books there. Book 4 is not quite ready yet, but we'll also have a little sign that says, yes, indeed, we are 91 Reasons. Austin and Luna will be in Homestuck cosplay the entire convention, hanging out, talking trivia, giving out business cards, and signing autographs, right? You have an autograph line?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to like
Pre-signed cards.
Like Walt Disney. I'm going to have pre-signed cards.
Pre-signed cards, yeah. Would you like a pre-signed card? There you go. So who knows what the future holds. We're going to try to head out to a convention next week, which is the Vintage Pinball and Arcade Expo in Banning. We have not finalized all the plans for that, but if we go, will you guys be in cosplay?
Probably.
Why not?
Oh, we got to go in cosplay. Even if it's nothing to do with Homestuck. There might be one there. So we thank you for listening. The best way to support the show is to leave us a review on iTunes. Doesn't cost you anything, and it helps our ratings go up and our numerical listings in the iTunes directory. I'm not sure how it works. I don't think even iTunes knows how it works, but we do know that the more ratings we get, the better our chance of getting featured on the homepage. You can buy my books on Amazon.com, The Sixth Key, The Lost Station, and The Infinite Backward. The fourth book in the series, The Ice Temple, will be coming next year. Homestuck is available for free on the internet. They also have merchandise through We Love Fine and What Pumpkin, which are usually at WonderCon, right?
Yeah.
What Pumpkin will be there, right?
Yeah, every year.
Every year, We Love Fine.
And
That'll be fun.
Paradox Space is the spin-off comic.
Paradox Space. If you see Andrew Hussey, ask him if he knows what the heck 91 Reasons is, and tell him from his mom, please clean up the Taco Bell wrappers in the backseat of his car. That's filthy. You shouldn't live like that.
Purchase receipts.
Oh, so you don't have to live like that. You know, if you're having a gordita, the least you can do is throw the wrapper and the receipt away, okay? So, hey, it's 2015. It's a new year. It's the year of the Homestuck. We'll be doing these episodes every Wednesday night until the cows come home. We may even go on vacation this year, and if we do, we will take the computer, your laptop, with us, and we'll do an episode and upload it from there to try to keep the momentum going. Because there's nothing worse than having a great podcast you enjoy listening to, and they don't update regularly. So we promise, unless something terrible happens, to update regularly pretty much until Homestuck ends and beyond, right? Because we're never going to run out of stuff to say.
Yeah.
There's too much to talk
He's got
about.
games planned for like 6 more years.
Yeah, we've got stories for years. Sorry about the clip show. That's a Simpsons reference. From the home offices here in Riverside, California, in the United States of America, I'm Jeff Tucker.
I'm Austin.
I'm Luna.
And you're listening to the show we like to call
Thanks for listening to 91 Reasons. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Find us on Facebook. Is anyone even still listening?